Hello and welcome to the JB&M Sports Fanatic channel. What's good with you? And so we are here on a Friday, y'all. And so you already know we're going to be talking about some football content here, whether we're talking NFL, college football, we'll be sure to cover both. And so, but I'm definitely looking forward here to being able to have this conversation here on a Friday, guys. I mean, tomorrow is the start of the college football season, week 0. So a lot of things to look forward to with that. Wrapping up the final week of the NFL preseason this weekend as well. So a lot of great things to look forward to this weekend, and certainly a lot of things to dive into. And so, but yes, I am looking forward to it. And let's see. All right. But yeah, be sure to go ahead and comment and let your boy know that you are here and just what you're looking forward to discussing the most here. Meanwhile, we are waiting on Old Man to join us, and he will be joining us here momentarily here. And so let me make sure that he's got the correct link here. And let's see. Old says, JB, you never sent me a link to join the live. And so hold on, let me check because I'm pretty sure when I created the link that I. All right, yeah, let me go ahead and just forward that to you again real quick. All right. Yeah, but I see it here. I sent it through Twitter, but let me go ahead and send it again. And let's see. Lewis, what's good? Lewis says, let's go. Laney says, hey JB, been watching the Jags play. And so how the Jags looking? SM says, what's good, JB? Good to see you. Good to see you guys here. And so just give me 1 second here and let me go ahead and send this link here so that way we can get Old Man to join as well. And then we'll be good to go. Absolutely. All right, here we go. All right, Ode, you should have it. And so, yeah, my bad on that one, Ode. I sent it so long ago. I'm pretty sure it got like lost in our chat and stuff like that. But I sent it again. Absolutely. But as soon as O joins, we'll go ahead and jump in terms of just discussing. We'll start with the NFL first and cover like just the remaining games and stuff. And so O said, okay, got it. Joining now. So bet. Let's see. Laney says, good. It was the starters, but they are out now 14-0. So Jags started the game off with their starters. Okay. That's awesome. How did Trevor Lawrence look and stuff like that? Mike, what's good with you? So we've got Mike here in the chat. Good to see so many people here early here. I appreciate that. And so O to be here any minute. And then we'll just jump into discussing the remainder of, we'll start with the remainder of the preseason games, what we're looking forward to throughout the rest of the games, because obviously this weekend is the final week. Some of the players that, we're looking forward to seeing that may or may not, get cut. Obviously this final week is important for teams to finish out that last 53-man roster. So a couple of trades will be going down, all that great stuff. So certainly excited to be talking about that for sure. But how's everybody's day going? You know, it's a Friday here, college football tomorrow as well. So, I'm excited for that. I've mentioned it a bunch of times, but I am excited for that. And so let's see, SM says, JB, when is cut down day? And so cut down day, I got to double check that one real quick because I know it's usually like, I feel like it's usually either a Tuesday or a Wednesday, but I need to check and see the official cut down day. So let me see that. And Laney says, great spot on got hot low once they scored. And so once there was a scare. And so, okay, bet. But yeah, the official NFL cut down day, let's see. All right, so yeah, that's going to be Tuesday at 4 p.m. Eastern time. It's the official cut day. So okay, so I knew it's normally on like a Tuesday. So yeah, it's going to be Tuesday. And so okay, bet. Let's see. Mike says Tuesday at noon. And so all right, appreciate that there, Mike. Absolutely. Let me see. Absolutely. And while we await on O to join, I guess I can go ahead and start at least with the current preseason schedule that we have for the remainder of the games, in which, of course, there are a couple games going on. The Jaguars and the Falcons, they're going on right now. So is the Dolphins and the Buccaneers. And then later on tonight will be the San Francisco 49ers and the Las Vegas Raiders. Let's see, Mike says 4 p.m. Eastern there. And so, yeah, 4 o'clock Eastern is the time that they will be having that. Esm says, wonder who's going to be a surprise cut. And so you know it's going to happen. And the great candidates for surprise cuts is you got to look at the guys who are in a situation where they're getting paid. I'm not going to say like it doesn't have to be like top of the charts here, but they're getting paid pretty well. And there's a backup behind them who's performing on a similar or maybe even outplaying them. And the team's like, hey, we can take the cheaper option. This undrafted guy can come in and pretty much do what they're doing at a much cheaper weight. Those are the guys that need to be concerned and stuff like that on those rosters and stuff like that. Those guys who have bigger names than their actual game still is. But you know there's going to be quite a few surprises. Teams love to do that and stuff like that for sure. For sure. Yeah, and if you're just joining and you're wondering where Old Man is, he'll be joining us soon. I sent him the link here, so he'll be joining us momentarily, and then we can go ahead and get into it. But definitely keep the chat coming, keep the chat coming for sure. And so Mountain Veteran, aka 80, what's good with ya? And so 80 says, JB, I heard you're getting a new co-host, Skip Bayless. And so, well, easy now, easy now. I doubt we'll be having Skip there, but I appreciate that. Yes, and we got to play the sound. And so, yes, appreciate that super chat. And let's see, Mike says Hakeem Butler cut. And so, oh man, I hate to see that because I mean, you look at him in the UFL and Hakeem, I mean, he does so great year in and year out. And you say Nate Brooks survived the Bengals, and he says, shout out 80s. Yes, the man that makes it rain every time he shows up, the man of the hour. Glad to have you. Meanwhile, let's see, we just had 80s there and stuff like that, but I guess he's got to rejoin here. But I know that he's almost there. And so let's see, Mountain says Lewis. And so is Lewis up here? I know Lewis has got to be feeling good about his Chicago Bears. I mean, they've got a lot of momentum from the preseason. Let's see if it carries over to the regular season. But right now, they've got to be feeling like they made the right choice in terms of moving on from Justin Fields. Absolutely. And let's see. Mike says, I mean, Matt Chatter, sorry. I was looking, I was like, did I miss Lewis there? And so, yes. But yeah, O should be joining any second now. Absolutely. But yeah, I see that you're already in full weekend mode, 80s. Yes, the founding member here at JB&M Sports Fanatic. And let's see, Mike says defensive tackle Carlos Davis still a Bengal. And let's see, 80 says when I'm hung over tomorrow, it'll all be JB's fault. And so can't pin that one on JB now. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But yeah, so and just looking at some of the key matchups there, because I know some teams they actually plan on playing their starters. You think about the Carolina Panthers. I know that they're a team, Bryce Young, he's going to actually get to go out there and play. I felt like he should have been playing a little bit more earlier this offseason. But how do you guys feel about the Carolina Panthers offseason and Bryce Young? Is this going to be the year for Bryce Young to take that next step? Did Carolina do enough to support him in taking that next step? And let's see, 80 says, what do you think about the Dolphins quarterback said about his former coach? And so what Tua said about Brian Flores. And so I felt like there's two ways that I took it personally. One, it goes to show that the quarterbacks of today, and when I say the quarterbacks of today, obviously not all of them and stuff like that, but some of them, they want their hand held and stuff like that. I look around the league and you think of the guys like, a Mac Jones, for example, and we know how that played out down there in New England and stuff like that. And obviously, was not his fault. You get Matt Patricia to be an offensive coordinator for somebody, they're going to fail 10 out of 10 times and stuff like that. That's just how it is. But some of these guys, they want to feel like their coach believes in them. They've experienced it throughout high school. They've had all these guys, throughout the college telling them you're so good. We want you and stuff like that. And so the moment that they face somebody who tells them, hey, like, I'm really not that fond of you and stuff like that. In a way, because I feel like when Brian Flores said that to him, I think Brian Flores meant it in a way to push him to be better. Because where he was at that time, he was not better than Ryan Fitzpatrick that first year, but he took it a completely different way. Meanwhile, Black Medicine coming through here and he says, roll damn tide. He said, hold to his hand. Hashtag hold to his hand. And so, oh man, but we got to play the sound here. That's right. Appreciate that. But yeah, and obviously we saw what happened, post Brian Flores and stuff like that for Tua. And so just having a coach that not only believed in him, but brought in key playmakers, bringing in Tyreek, that was huge. That was huge. You bring in Tyreek, even JB probably can throw, a little bit like Daniel Jones at the least and stuff like that. If you give me Tyreek out there, so that Jalen Waddle, they put pieces around him, a good scheme as well. Achon in the backfield and stuff like that, Raheem Mostert. So he's got guys around him. So they did a good job of helping him out to obviously help him maximize his ability. But just having someone that he obviously feels, comfortable with, that's important for him. But speaking of feeling comfortable with, we got Ode here. So Ode, I'm about to go ahead and add you here and let's see if we can hear him and stuff like that. But here we go. Old man, can you hear us?
Can you hear me, JB?
We got you. We got you. So we've
Alright.
got Owen here live. I'll let you go ahead and say your intro.
How you guys doing? I'm Old Man Mom. Welcome to JB Nation. If you want to follow me, it's the Old Man Mob at
That's
Twitter.
great. And let me go ahead and put that up there for you.
And yes, I'm a Patriots fan.
And so as you can see, yes, absolutely glad to have you here, Owen. So we were just talking about the whole Tua and Brian Flores situation there in terms of just how we felt about it. So tell me, how did you feel when you heard what Tua had to say?
It kind of shocked me in a way, because you would think Flores is a player coach. He should know how a player would feel about it. I think if he would have went to Tua and told him, hey, we're going to start Fish, you're going to learn, sit, be good, he'd be fine with it. But taking him in, taking him out, you basically did what Belichick did to Max Jones. You broke him
Absolutely.
almost.
And what the Giants did to Daniel Jones as well.
Oh yeah, you basically broke. Well, not broke Tua because he got saved.
Exactly. Exactly. And let's see, we got Phoenix here in the chat. Phoenix, what's good with you? Phoenix says, what's good, JB and old man? Let's go. And let's see, SM says Flores had the Vikings defense playing well last season. And so, oh yeah, the Vikings, they love him. They understand what he brings. I mean, heck, having him as a defensive coordinator, that's big time. That's big time. And let's see, Mike says shout out Ode. So yeah, Mike with the shout out here. Absolutely. Again, be sure you guys go ahead and press that like button. And if you're new, let us know that you're new in the chat as well. We'd love to hear from you and let us know, obviously, your favorite team as well. All right, let's see. Making sure I didn't overlook anybody's chat. Let's see. SM says, I'm a Kobe guy, so you know where I side on that. And so, oh yeah, SM, absolutely. I mean, you're talking to, a bunch of guys that love Kobe and stuff like that as well. So absolutely. When a coach goes out there, it's a challenge because a lot of those coaches, being old school, when they say something, it's meant to motivate you to be the best that you can be. And I heard how Tom Brady basically felt about that situation as well and stuff like that. He said he took criticism and he implemented that criticism. He accepted it and allowed the coach to criticize him. So, you seeing Tim Duncan do it as well, an NBA reference there. So absolutely. All right,
How
let's
you feel
see.
about Brady and his comment about playing rookies?
Yeah, and if you can go ahead and let everybody know what he said exactly, I'll go from there.
Basically, he said he doesn't understand why everybody wants a rookie quarterback to start right away. He thinks it'd be good for them to sit and learn. Plus, he doesn't understand why in college, basically, they learning a playbook. They're not learning a system. They're not learning how to play actually football. They're learning that system only.
That's true. That's true. Meanwhile, before we get to that, we got a couple people here in the chat. And so shout out to Garlizo and to Kuzman and Matt Game
Oh, that's
63.
Ted.
Appreciate you.
Oh yeah, those are my boys right there. That's Mac, that's Tedman, and that's Garlizo.
Glad to have you guys here. Yes, and all the support there, old man mob gang. Love it. Love it. Let's see. But yeah, absolutely. And it just goes to show because, like, you think about the difference, obviously, just even a decade ago when a quarterback came in, we seen all the young guys that was thrown into the fire. And you never want to be the team that ends up drafting a Jake Locker or something like that, or an EJ Manuel. And so a lot of those quarterbacks back then, they really struggled. And no matter how long I felt like they would have sit, it just wouldn't have worked. But a lot of these guys that are coming in now, like some of them, they feel like you see what happened with CJ Stroud. And so I can see the case where some people are like, okay, you saw CJ do it and stuff like that. But CJ was different because even at Ohio State, as a freshman, a true freshman at that, he came in and he was lighting it up right off the bat. But not every quarterback did that. You look at a Anthony Richardson in college, he didn't get to really play that much until towards the tail end. So a lot of these guys, they really are, as you mentioned, like they've got to sit back and they've got to learn. And so, but great points there. And meanwhile, Mountain Veteran there with another super chat. And you say you agree with TB12. You wish they sat him down in the 2004 Super Bowl. Well, that would have been completely different there. Completely different. But yes, we'll play the sound. Appreciate that. And let's see. SM says, Brady said they're dumbing the game down so that rookies can play right away. And so, SM, you bring up a good point. You bring up a good point. Old man, if you want to elaborate on how some of the changes that you've probably noticed over the last couple of decades in terms of just how the NFL has changed, being a more offensive driven league to make it easier for the offense.
Well, if you look at the quarterback, they can't get touched. You sneeze the wrong way on them, they're gonna throw a flag for roughing, and then they taking away the defense allowed to be more aggressive. They taking that away. They also taking away special teams. Look at it.
It's
It's
true.
basically you can't do nothing. You're getting the ball closer to the other team's end zone right off the bat. They want a quick offense. They making it so 80 bomb yards. Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Herbo, them type of quarterbacks. They want them so they can throw, throw, throw. More points, more highlights, more money. And it's like Brady
Good.
said, instead of learning how to play quarterback, they teaching you be a high power superstar. Basically, throw it up. Don't look. Don't try to look on your footing. The throw, throw, throw.
I agree. I agree. Shout out Braden here. Braden says everyone like and subscribe. Appreciate that, Braden. How are you? Appreciate it. Let's see. And so we've got Clay. We've got the weird one here. Shout out to you guys. And let's see. Mike says the new pass interference tackling rules. And so, oh man, I mean, where do we start? Where do we start? There was a time because I remember back when the Patriots, and as much as it pains me to mention the undefeated season that didn't end undefeated, but you think about the next year after that. That was the year that Tom Brady got injured in the opening game, and I'll never forget it. Out for the season because a guy basically crawled into his leg there, a Chiefs defender, and took him out for the season and stuff like that. I remember when Carson Palmer and the Bengals were playing against the Pittsburgh Steelers, and the Steelers took him out in that playoff game and stuff like that. And so, but now you look, and the NFL has definitely made some changes. In which is it nice to make sure that your star quarterback doesn't get hurt? That's great, but I mean, you look at the first half of Brady's career. And playing against, I remember seeing him against the Dolphins, and they had guys like Jason Taylor, Zach Thomas, guys you had to really look out for. And those were some brutal games, some really brutal games. But the NFL said we want to get away from that type of thing. We don't want to see a league where an Ed Reed and a Ray Lewis just shuts an offense down and all like that. We want to see everybody going up there and lighten it out. And how we're going to do that is making sure that we don't allow them to hit the quarterback. Don't touch him at all. Because if the quarterback doesn't fear you and stuff like that, and I see old man drop here. Once he gets back, I'll add him back and stuff like that. But once they pretty much essentially decide like you can't touch the quarterback and make it to where defenders got to think a million things before they make a tackle, that goes a long way in helping the offense. All right, let me add old man back. All right, old, can you hear us?
Oh yeah, my bad.
Perfect, perfect, perfect. All right, let me go ahead and look at the comments here. Let's see. Let's see. Carlizo says that you hate the tackling rule, and how do you tackle someone from behind them? And so, Richard Sherman said it best. The people that are making these rules are not the people that are out there actually having to tackle a live moving person, like someone like a Derrick Henry and stuff like that. Like, how do you possibly do that? Especially you're a DB and stuff like that, and you got this man one on one. How are you supposed to do your job, essentially? Let's see. Thoughts on Sam Howell? Oh, we'll let you take a crack at that. What do you think about Sam Howell?
I thought he did good last year. A lot of people slept on him. EB had him cooking. If he stays with the Seahawks and depending on what they can build around him, they might have the quarterback. I wouldn't, if I'm them, I wouldn't take a quarterback this year. There's only two, maybe three at tops first round. Rock with Geno for a year, see if Sam could take over next year, and then go from there.
Okay. And yeah, when it comes to Sam Howell, I mean, he was someone that I'll admit going into last season, I was probably a little bit more higher than most when it comes to Sam Howell and stuff like that. But certainly, in the right system, and you don't want him taking too many sacks. What throws off Sam Howell is the sacks and stuff like that. And I know that's the case for a lot of quarterbacks and stuff like that. But he was when he feels uncomfortable, it messes up his game. You look at the games where he had the most success last year, both times against the Eagles. Why? The offensive line actually gave him a bit of time and he felt confident in those games. So perhaps different system. Who knows? Who knows? In time, perhaps.
And
Let's
at worst,
see.
you gave him a mid-round pick at worst.
Exactly. Exactly. And let's see. SM says the NFL doesn't want a guy like TJ Yates starting a playoff game. I don't think the NFL is alone with that one now. Like, I don't think they're alone with that one. Having a guy like TJ Yates. You went to the archive for that one, SM. You went to the archive. And let's see. Carlizo says it's ruining defense. And let's see, Braden says the hilarious thing, SM TJ Yates won the playoff game. And so Braden's like he won it. And so, but you're right, you're right. And not only that, I mean, you think about those days back when the Minnesota Vikings had like Adrian Peterson and like whatever quarterback they would end up having to start that playoff game and stuff like that. We knew at like from the get-go, like who is this quarterback starting for Minnesota this week in a big playoff game? But many times they just had to do that. So you're right. They wanted to get away from that. I understand that. Okay, a lot of love for Sam Howell. Okay, and you believe in Sam Howell as a Seahawks fan. Okay, okay. Let's see. Kuzman said thoughts on the Falcons' future this season. Ode, I'll let you start off with it.
I said this when they got Kirk Cousins, and I still stand on it. They winning the division. Straight up. Now they added Judon and Simmons. Yes. They might sweep the division
Okay.
this year, no lie. And depending on the
Uh,
matchups, they could go up to the championship.
Now, for me, I do like Kirk Cousins. I do, and I know he was a little hurt to see that they used that first round pick on drafting his future replacement. But Kirk, he's he's always signing those big deals, but it's for a reason. It's for a reason. I feel like Kirk, he has the ability to elevate this team to a playoff team. Now, obviously, we know that the roles are there on those, primetime matchups. But the good news is throughout the regular season, you're not going to have a ton of primetime matchup games, and you're in a division to where you're competing. I see them, competing with Tampa Bay for that division. We'll see what the Saints look like and stuff like that. It just comes down to how you feel about Derek Carr this season, personally, and stuff like that. For me, I just have more faith in Tampa when it comes to competing with the Falcons for this division. But I do see the Falcons getting a home playoff game this year, and we'll see how that plays out from there. But I do feel like he's going to help elevate those young guys. Drake London, this is big for him. Kyle Pitts, this is huge because Kyle Pitts is at the point where if he doesn't perform this year, it's just not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. So this is huge for those guys to go out there. And if Bijan Robinson can just go out there and show why he was drafted as early as he was and stuff like that, that'll just help this team even more. But you're right, the veterans that they added, that was big. That was big.
Don't forget, JB. Kirk Cousins loves tight ends. Pitts
That is
could have a
true.
monster year this year. He
Yeah.
could
Hey,
be close to 1,000 yards, maybe 8 to 9 tutties.
and also addition by subtraction. Getting rid of Arthur Smith is also another thing because Arthur just wanted to hand that ball off, and he didn't want to hand it off to his best back and stuff like that. He just wanted to hand it off to like three different backs, throw it to his second best tight end, and Janu Smith and stuff like that. And so, yeah, so addition by subtraction, this Atlanta offense should definitely be much better. All right, let's see. Braden says that Howell should sit behind Smith for a little bit. And let's see. Sam Howell was just in a bad situation with coaching and his offensive line. That's a true. SM says the Falcons are looking good. Falcons are cooking. All right, all right. And next mixture of veterans and young talent. Easy W for the Falcons, according to Mike. And he says the Saints and Tampa Bay are both mid. And shout out to Spencer Rattler. And again, Spencer Rattler is a guy that I feel like if he gets an opportunity, whether it's Derek Carr getting hurt, whether it's Derek Carr, due to performance, or either the team just feels like, okay, we're not going nowhere this season's, they're starting to get a little bit desperate because we all know their head coach, if he don't make the playoffs this year, he's got to be gone. He has got to be gone. And so
I
he
was
might
about to
look and be like,
ask you.
yeah, go ahead.
I was about to ask you how long you think Rattler takes until Rattler takes over.
I can
Because I
honestly
think it
see,
could. I think it could happen this year.
I can see
Just
it being
because,
this
like
year
you
because,
said, the head coach knows he's gonna get fired. If
hmm
they start losing and Rattler comes in and wins maybe 3, 4, 5 games, he could save himself and blame
exactly.
Carr, get Carr out of there. Even if Rattler's not the dude, hey, he saved your job.
Exactly. Because we all remember it wasn't that long ago, back when he was down there at Oklahoma and stuff like that, before Caleb Williams took his job, where around the league, many people had him as the number one pick for that year and stuff like that, which was why his dad was going insane when he got benched and stuff like that in favor of Caleb Williams, who turns out to actually be that good. So it makes sense, like a guy like that who's been humbled, he's already had to face adversity, went to a different situation, and he showed me a lot is South Carolina. I cannot emphasize enough how he turned me from being someone who's just like Spencer Rattler's a joke to being someone like, okay, Spence, I see you. You took that because not everybody responds that way. But how do you respond in a situation like that? I felt like he responded, pretty good after that. Let's see. The weird one says the amount of moves the Falcons have done this week is crazy. SM says you would have drafted O'Dunes if you were them, but you understand the pick. And so, in hindsight, I understand the pick if you're thinking of the future and you just want to make sure you never end up in a situation like you did, towards the tail end of the whole Matt Ryan era, then going to Desmond Ritter. Let's not forget they had Marcus Mariota. They don't want to ever be in a situation like that again in the next, decade. So, absolutely. Up and let's see. Black Medicine says that Mac Jones is going to succeed because he got away from that so far toxic organization. I seen earlier that Mac Jones actually has like what the highest QBR so far in the preseason and stuff like that. And so that's insane. That's insane. And let's see. Garlizo says very high on Bijan. All right, all right. And apologize if I'm a little behind here on the chat. Let's see. Oh, you still there? Let's see. All right, so we got two of you here.
I don't know how we have two of me.
Going prime twice. Going prime twice. SM says that Cousins will have a great year. Let's see. Carlizo says it's going to be a long year for the Steelers with Arthur Smith. So we'll take this time to talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers now. And Ode, Give me your thoughts right now on where the Pittsburgh Steelers are. Obviously, the quarterback situation, but also the backfield situation as well, receivers, all of that. Just let me know how do you feel about Pittsburgh in general.
Quarterback is a tricky one for me because you got Russell, you paying $1 million to, and then you got Justin Fields, you traded for. It's a hard one because let's be real, Russell's not Russ no more. If anything, he needs to be on a team that a defense can carry him, where he can hand the ball off 99% of the time and make like maybe five to six plays. Justin, on the other hand, you know he's gonna make some plays. He's gonna run, but he's also gonna throw a pick, fumble the ball, and look down instead of throwing a touchdown to a wide open person, he's gonna run for it. I
Yep,
think Najee's gonna have a lot of carries this year. He's gonna carry. He might get more carries than any running back in the league this year if Russell's the starting quarterback. Cause, like I said, Russ ain't him. I expect Pickens to be Pickens. I expect him to be balling. He's the number one receiver now. He wanted to be. He was cocky about it. He wanted to be the man. Well, time to live up or time to shut up because you're the one wide receiver one now. You're gonna be the one that they're gonna throw the ball to 99% of the time when they're not running it. Better start
that's
catching
true.
balls. Better start acting like a leader. Stop acting like an A B wannabe with your drama. Time to go up and be the leader that you need to be.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I do feel like we all know when it comes to Pittsburgh, they find ways to win close games. It's not always going to be pretty and stuff like that. And one thing I will say about Russell Wilson, as much as I criticize Russell Wilson routinely and stuff like that, if there's one thing he does have going for himself, is that it seems like late in the fourth quarter, especially with the Broncos. Now, whether or not the game was close and all like that, that all depends. But late in the fourth quarter, he did move the ball and found ways to get them to score. Meanwhile, the opposite was the case for Justin Fields, whereas I would watch a Bears game and be like, okay, they might can pull this one off. Then I'm over there saying, okay, Fields, do it. And then he fumbles the ball and I'm over there just throwing a tablet and stuff like that. Like, bro, what are you doing? And stuff like that. Or either he's just throwing an interception. It's a mistake that he makes late. And ultimately, that is going to probably be the biggest decision as to why I feel like they're going to go with Russell Wilson, at least early on, just because of that late game thing. Because the Steelers will keep it close. That they've got the defense and they're used to that style of play. So they'll keep it close. And they're just going to want somebody that's not going to turn it over, especially in key situations and big situations. And as much as I love Justin Fields' ability to run, we cannot ignore turnovers. All right. Let's see. Carlito says that you think that Carr's going to play the whole year. And let's see, Red One says the Steelers went from terrible offensive coordinator to slightly above terrible offensive coordinator from one bad one to another. Let's see. Black says the Falcons winning the division. Let's see. Mike says, oh man, he was backing up Caleb the chances. And so, yeah, because he was originally the starter down there at Oklahoma. Then Caleb took his job. And then after that, it was his job. And then both of them ended up transferring and leaving Oklahoma and stuff like that right after the season. So imagine that you're an Oklahoma fan and you're pretty much like, I mean, I was about to say, am I freezing right now? But yeah, imagine being an Oklahoma fan and then you're like, we have two great ones, and then you lose them both that following year. So, but yeah, let's see. Black says, yeah,
It's
and
like
Spencer
Ole
isn't
Miss
as
losing
sassy as
Tinker.
Caleb. What'd you say, old?
I said that's like Ole Miss losing Jenkins to Buckeyes. The whole offense went bye bye.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And we will definitely discuss Ole Miss a little later on as well. All right. Braden says Buccaneers still winning the division. I'm just going to catch up a little bit on some of the comments here. All right, let's see. Kuzman says, I think we'll do better this season. Mike says, I wish they had another good receiver. They only have London, and who else they got? All right, so yeah, when it comes to the receivers, oh, and if you want to discuss the other receivers that the Atlanta Falcons currently have right now, I know that they did pick up, what was that guy from
I know they
Chicago?
picked up Moore, but he got hurt.
Yeah, Randall Moore got hurt from coming over from the Cardinals, but they picked up what's that guy coming over from the Bears who was their number two receiver? I can't think of his name right now, but I know
Mooney,
exactly. Mooney. Yeah, yeah, Darnell
yeah,
Mooney. Yes.
picked
So
up
they picked him
Mooney.
up. But other than that, I'm like, that's a good
That
question.
I
Who else do they
really
have?
James Washington, Casey
Wait, is he really
Washington.
there?
I
Oh
believe
wow.
so.
I'll look it up
Oh
right
no, he's a
now.
free agent. Never mind. I thought he was with them still.
Okay, yeah, because I'm like, I gotta look real quick and see the Falcons depth chart at receiver here, because yeah, for all the reasons that you mentioned.
I know Ray Ray's a receiver, but they use him as a special teams. Ray McLeod.
Ray Ray's been somewhere everywhere. Like I remember San Francisco, Pittsburgh. Ray Ray gets around. But yeah, you did mention Casey Washington, Kadero Hodge, Chris Blair. Okay, so oh yeah, so Drake's gonna get his targets. He's gonna get his targets through the air. Him, Kyle Pitts, they're gonna get their targets. And then Darnell Mooney, if he can. I mean, Mooney. Many times I would see him open in Chicago, and then I hate to say it, but Justin Fields would just flat out miss him. I mean, he tend to miss Darnell Mooney
Oh,
more than he did anybody else, and it was bad. Now, for
Mooney
player
be
prop
open.
purposes, yeah, wide open.
He
All
be
right,
having a
let's
touchdown, and Sustin says, "No, let me take off."
that too. That too. All right, let's see. The weird one says, "Not gonna lie, y'all might pick off Carr like 6 times this year." Mike says, "We multiply." Let's see. Reliza says, "If the Steelers manage to get Ayuk, they'll be solid offensively." So tell us, oh, how you feel about the Brandon Ayuk situation and the potential teams, whether it's Pittsburgh, or just where you would like to see him go if he does indeed go.
I think he is using every other team, New England, Browns, the Commanders, to get to Pittsburgh. If Commanders are willing to give 49ers a first round pick and what they want, he'll definitely go there because Daniel Daniels. They best friends. He wants to get to Pittsburgh though. On the other hand, though, with 49ers not getting what they want in return, they were willing to trade him to New England. Kraft was about to make him second or third highest paid receiver per year and was about to make almost, I think it was 70% or 65% of his money guaranteed. So you can't be out here saying, all the money, I want the money, when you got offered all this money and told us no. Like, I think he's going to end up in the 49ers for this year. They might let him play, and then they might tag him next year, and then do a trade because it's better than getting anything than nothing for him.
That's true. And I do feel like if it does go into next year, that will definitely help Washington's ability to try to make a move for him and stuff like that. So, but yeah, I mean, you're right. He says he want the money, but he just didn't want the money from us. He didn't want it from us. All right, let's see. Weird one says that I hope Washington don't get Ayuk. I need him to stay out of my division. And let's see. Carlito says that Russ was solid last year as well. If he can do the same like last year, they should be all right. And so, yeah, I mean, if they can get that from him and stuff like that, we saw what happened with Pittsburgh once they were able to get, Mason Rudolph to be able to come in there like that, like towards the tail end of the season. We saw what Pittsburgh could look like with even a Mason Rudolph. So, absolutely right. Absolutely right. All right. Ode, you're back with us? All right, just let me know if you can, if you can hear us. Let's see, you say Darnell Mooney is a pretty solid, underrated guy. And so, I mean, yeah, absolutely underrated because it was not his fault down there in Chicago at all. I mean, all you can do is get open, but it's not like he's dropping passes. The man was open and the ball would just go flying over his head about 4 yards too far and stuff like that. I've seen it far too many times. He was one of my favorite players to take the under on when it came to player props just because I knew Justin Fields wasn't going to be able to get him the ball. So absolutely. All right. I think Ode is having some audio issues, but just let
Can
us
you
know
hear
when you're
me?
in. Ode. Okay, yeah, we can hear you now.
All right.
Perfect. Uh-oh, we got this one from Black Medicine. He says, "Isn't Iowa out here cheating and still not winning their division, the Iowa Hawkeyes?"
It's the
And
truth,
so
but did you really have to say it?
I slick was wondering if that one game suspension might actually improve their offense and stuff like that, because it'll give somebody else the ability to call the plays. And if that one game, they might actually be able to exceed like more than 10 points in that game or more than 20 and stuff like that. So, wow. Let's see. You say Pitts should eat. Okay, okay. Let's see. Mike says Ray a whole lot of mid and stuff. And so, speaking of mid and stuff like that, so who's a player, that you're like, okay, this guy may not have been utilized the right way in years prior, but he's on a new team now, and you're like, this might actually be the perfect spot for him. Do you have a player that comes to mind when I say something like that? A player who was probably used wrong on a prior team, got a different situation going on, and you feel like this year might be the year for him?
Uh, Not really. Not off the top. Give me like, do you have
I got
anyone so
you.
I can think?
Yeah, I'm thinking a player that comes to mind, and we've seen spurts of it, but Curtis Samuel is an interesting player down there in Buffalo because obviously they're going to need some receivers to step up down there, and it's a lot to expect there, rookie receiver to come in and be that guy. But a guy like Curtis Samuel, I mean, I'm trying to think who's the best quarterback that he got to actually play with throughout his career and stuff like that. Playing with a guy like Josh Allen and the creative ways that you can use a Curtis Samuel. And I'm not saying he's going to go out there and have like 1,000 yards, but I feel like his impact could be the greatest that we've seen throughout his career
I
and stuff like
believe
that
he
today.
played with Cam.
And so, oh man, Cam. And so, yeah. Now we've seen Cam go out there and do the most with guys like Ted Ginn Jr. and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean it's a good opportunity for him, a great opportunity actually for him to go in there, I feel like, and not be asked to carry the team or do, too much extra, but he'll have a lot of opportunities, I feel like.
I'll say Derrick Henry. I think he's gonna have a mean year. I think he might be able to get like 10 to 13, maybe 14 touchdowns because the Ravens are gonna use him perfectly. Wait to get in the goal line and hammer it 4 times in a row if they have to. Just like the Seahawks should have done on the one line in the Super Bowl. As for you, Guy Lizzo,
They didn't. I'm glad they didn't. Otherwise, things would have been completely different. I'm glad they didn't. Let's see. Mike says Mooney's a three. Weird one says I'm not. Garlizo's score prediction for Ravens versus Chiefs week one. And so I think that's a great chance for us to go ahead and start getting some of those predictions in their ode. Wouldn't you agree? So I'll go ahead and set that up. Meanwhile, while I'm setting that up there, if you would like, let's see, if you want to give your thoughts on Aaron Rodgers and the Jets right now, I'll go ahead and set that up on my end here. So give me
well,
1 second.
Aaron Rodgers being what he's always been, a diva. He wants it his way. He wants to be able to do it what he wants to do, and then no repercussions. You have a young team who's been hungry to go to the Super Bowl. You got a team that has been to the Super Bowl in decades, and you out here playing games. I think Aaron Rodgers would be done in a year and a half. The sad part is the head coach and the GM could both get cut before Aaron Rodgers does. It won't shock me if Aaron Rodgers makes the Jets go all out and get Adams because that's my boy. I want to play with him one more time. Maybe in the Olympics. Maybe that. No, you're gonna make him go all out. You ain't gonna win the Super Bowl because you're gonna win against KC, win against Burrow. You're gonna win in a super team, and you're gonna lose. And you're gonna go out and you're gonna be pouty. You're gonna and you're gonna go out like Brett Favre did, a grumpy old man who's overrated.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so, but yes, so I've got this pick open up here, and so I shared the link with you before. Oh, so if on your end you want to go ahead and open it, so that way as we go through, you can make your pick simultaneously, and we'll show the screen for mine, but you can still start pulling yours up now. And while you're
All right.
doing that, I'll go ahead and catch up on the comments here. But I see a good one here, and let's see. Mike asked, any predictions on Drake London at receiver? I feel like Personally, I feel like Drake London is going to do good this year. Now, what does good actually entail for him? I feel like he's going to go out there and have himself anywhere between roughly 800 to about 1100 receiving yards and stuff like that. I feel like for this upcoming season, or I'll say at peak, like if he goes out there and really shines, because I mean, my man had Desmond Ritter throwing him the ball and stuff like that. I mean, Desmond Ritter, I mean, yeah, that's not going to work. That's not going to work. That whole experiment that they was doing, that was not the answer. So it'll be a big upgrade because Kirk, if there's one thing Kirk does, he'll get you the ball and stuff like that. Like it may not lead to any primetime victories, but Kirk's going to go out there and make sure he put up the numbers to justify some team going out there and spending that kind of money on him. So I feel like he's going to be the biggest beneficiary when it comes to this upcoming season. And I feel like because you look at all the number one receivers that he's played with throughout his career and the type of seasons that they've had. And I do believe that Drake London has definitely had the talent. When you had an offensive coordinator that just completely limited your ability to go out there and perform, and then you had a quarterback that wasn't capable of getting you the ball and stuff like that. And then not to mention, it was his first year in the league as well. But I feel like Drake London's going to have a good year, a breakout year this upcoming year. I really believe that this upcoming season is going to show. And let's see. And
Oh,
let
let
me
me
know,
say
oh,
one
once you have it
thing
pulled
real
up.
quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
Before people say that about me talking about Aaron Rodgers, I was only joking. He's not overrated. He's one of the best throwers ever. It's just the point. He's one of the biggest divas I have ever watched play. Like, come on now, people, be real. He's a great thrower, but the dude's a diva. Just like Stephon Diggs, he's a diva.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Let's see. And I'll go ahead and get a couple more comments in. Carlizo says Commanders definitely had the intention of getting Ayuk after trading Dotson. And so that was initially my first thought when I was like, they must know something that we don't know in order for them to trade a guy like Dotson. And I get it. If you're not in love with the guy, but you at least got to have somebody in mind to replace him. That much I do know. Let's see. Black Medicine says he knows that the Patriots will be the death of his career. And so let's see. In the Zoe, what's good with you? And the Zoe says, my guys. And so Cameron 8, what's good with you? Says Stephon Diggs winning MVP. And so Black says Mac Jones. And the Zoe says Sam Darnold, stop it.
All
Stop it.
right.
Stop it. Let's see. Well,
You
the weird
talking
one
about
says
Sam seeing goats?
Sam.
Darnold?
Yes.
Come on now. You better off getting Zappy or Max Jones than that bum.
Good old Sam Darnold. Oh man. Have you pulled up on your end for your
Yes, I
picks?
have.
Perfect, perfect. So we'll go through these picks here, and I'll read a few more comments real quick. Red one says he sees Curtis Samuel can have 800 yards with the Bills. I can certainly see that. Not to mention when he will add, rushing wise as well on a couple of those reverses. So I do like that for an opportunity. And let's see. You say Jerry Judy. Oh, your thoughts on Jerry Judy?
He's overrated. My-
And
Like Steve Smith said, he ain't a wide receiver one, he ain't a wide receiver two, he's a wide receiver three. But maybe with Cooper, though, he can tell him, hey, I'm more than likely leaving. There's going to be a team. It's time to go up. Maybe he'll learn from Cooper. I highly doubt it, though.
Yeah, and so I remember there was a time, where we were so desperate for a receiver, where even the thought of getting a Jerry Judy was like, please, like we'll take him, like we'll make the trade to make it happen. I remember a couple seasons ago,
Oh,
things were that bad. Oh man, let's see. All right, so we'll go ahead and get there. But CD, shout out to you. Shout out to you. How are you doing? CD says he got the Jets going 7-10 or 8-9. Meanwhile, Nazo says the Jets gonna flop. I feel like the Jets are gonna do Jet type things and they will flop. But we'll go ahead and get these picks on the way. Ode, what we'll do is we will rotate, between me and you in terms of for each matchup, who goes first to say who they're going to pick for that one, and then the other person to go. So we'll let you go first for the Ravens and the Chiefs to get us started. And if you guys in the chat want to let us know who you got as well, feel free to do so also.
I got KC winning this just because I think the Ravens are gonna try to fit in Derrick Henry and Lamar. They're gonna try to do a trick plays early, try to still use like the first week as a practice basically. But it's gonna still be close. But I got KC winning by at least 6 points.
All right, so Ode has Kansas City winning by at least 6. Okay, I like it. I mean, we're talking about obviously a rematch AFC Championship game. We all know that. And personally, I felt like Baltimore tried to, I don't know if it was a combination of them listening to the critics so much to where they wanted Lamar to do it by passing, but I felt like he had some opportunities. If he used his legs and maximized what got them there, they had a real good chance of actually winning that game. And now you're telling me you're going to implement a King Henry into the system as well. Now, don't get me wrong. I know how great Kansas City is. I do know that and stuff like that. But remember last year, Kansas City, I think in the opener against Detroit, they lost to Detroit, if I'm not mistaken. Correct me if I'm wrong. Was that the opener? I know it was early in the season last year and stuff like that. Oh, but they got off to a bit of a slow start. It took them about half the season before they really started clicking. And I just feel like Baltimore having, lost that game last time, you add Derrick Henry to the mix there. I could see Baltimore doing this upset here. So I'm going to go ahead and say that Baltimore is going to win this game here. Come out the gate swinging here and stuff like
Alright.
that. And of course, I still believe the Chiefs, they'll do Chiefs type of things, but I'm going to say Baltimore for this one. So
All I gotta say is Chris Jones.
and so good old Chris Jones. That's right. They do have Chris Jones. But now you got to think about Thunder and Lightning combined. So that's going to be tough. That's going to be tough. All right. Meanwhile, let's see what the chat said here. And again, I'm just going to catch up, on some of the comments as well so we don't get too far behind. Cameron 8 says thoughts on Stephon Diggs getting 2,200 yards, 25 touchdowns. He wins MVP. Thoughts in the Texans 2025 Super Bowl champs with Diggs getting Super Bowl MVP. And so, I mean, if that were to happen, then definitely show up the rest of the year on JB Nation and say that you said it first and stuff like that. But if you cut those receiving yards in half, perhaps, and then reduce that
Maybe.
touchdown to maybe like, I don't know, because here's the thing about Houston and stuff like that. I feel like, and this is very important when we're talking fantasy football as well, there's going to be games where we know somebody's going to go off, but we don't know who that somebody's going to be. It's going to come down to who the defense tries to take away. If they're going to take away Stephon Diggs this game, great. Nico Collins, he's going to go out there and ball out. Tank Dell, he's going to go out there and ball out. I feel like we're going to see different receivers on different days, depending on the matchup, go out there and ball out. So he just won't have the opportunity to go out there and get that many yards. But that's a good problem for Houston. That's a great problem. Now, in terms of them winning a Super Bowl, your thoughts on that?
I think they have a good chance in the next 2 years. The only problem is Casey and Mahomes. It's basically, I hate to say it, it's like Tom Brady and Belichick. Until you defeat them and knock them off and win a Super Bowl by defeating them or knock them off on your way to the Super Bowl, you gotta take them every day. So until Houston shows me that they go farther into the playoffs and knock off KFC or knock off a Bengals team, maybe a Bills team, then I'll say yes. Until then, they still good, but nah, they ain't winning.
Yeah,
And
and I
Diggs is
mean,
a diva and Cameron, stop it. You know he's a diva. Even EA knows he's a diva.
yes. All right, let's see. Braden says the Jets aren't winning the division, and the Zoe says the Cowpits will have a breakout year. And so, Carmichael, what's good? How are you? He says hello, JB. Let's see. Black says he had Mariota longer, I think. And so, oh man, that's right. Speaking of, I mean, that's even worse. That's even worse. I seen some stuff from Marcus Mariota that you should never see from a starting quarterback and stuff like that back when he was starting for Atlanta a couple seasons ago. So I'm telling you, having Kirk Cousins that's a big elevation from what he previously had. So yeah, we're gonna see some improvement there.
You want to know what's crazy, Shapey? You talking about all the weapons that Texans have. We haven't even mentioned Joe Mixon
That's right.
or Damian
I did.
Pills or
That's
Cam
right.
Akers.
That's right. Exactly. Now tell me this: all the moves that they made, does that in your mind make them the second best team in the AFC coming into the season? Are they still behind Baltimore in your opinion? 'Cause they made a lot of good moves, and I do like it and stuff like that. But where do you rank Houston right now in terms of just purely as like
An
overall
all around
in the
team.
AFC? Yeah.
I got them third. I got KC because, like I said, until you beat them, they number one. I gotta give it to Lamar and the Ravens, and then I got Texans with AC with third, and then I got fourth Buffalo, fifth I got New York Jets.
Okay. Okay.
Even though I don't think they're gonna win, I think they're gonna be good though.
Oh yeah, I mean the talent that they have on the defensive side and stuff, and then the everything that they put together. It's just winning is about a culture, and that's something that is so hard to replicate. You've seen super teams before that just haven't panned out. You've seen really good teams that just you're like, what's missing? Culture, knowing how to win and stuff like that. A team like Kansas City, yes, JB picked Baltimore week one and stuff like that, but I know Kansas City knows how to turn it on, mid-season and get hot at the right time. Some teams they'll peak too early in the season, I feel like, and then later on it's like, oh, injuries start to pile in and stuff like that. But peaking at the right time is so important. Let's see. We'll get a couple more comments before I'll do my picks for the next one. But Kuzman said that you think that it's definitely time for London and Pitts to step up and go crazy. It's now. It's now or never. It's now or never. You get a guy like Kirk Cousins, and yes, Kirk Cousins, he may not be that guy that's going to bring you a Super Bowl. We know that's not going to happen, but he can definitely and should be able to help them elevate to be what they were drafted to be and stuff like that. Because I know Arthur Blank don't like writing these checks, and these guys aren't going out there to score. He missed the days of a Matt Ryan and Julio Jones, and he's certainly hoping that these guys go out there and perform to their capability. And Weird One says that Drake London is going to have a 1,000-yard season. And so I can see that. I can see that. Black says, old man don't want the smoke. All right, we'll go ahead and do my next pick here. So that'll be the Packers and the Eagles here. And so obviously, both of these teams, what do they have in common? They both went out there, and I feel like they upgraded tremendously at the running back position. They both have quarterbacks that are highly paid and stuff like that. But are we really 100% sure either way for both of these quarterbacks that they're as good as advertised and stuff like that? For Jordan Love, we saw half a season in which he was amazing. Everybody loves what he did in the playoffs up until the very end and stuff like that. But the addition of Josh Jacobs, I like it. My questions are Christian Watson. How good is Christian Watson really? He fooled me last year. I'm not gonna lie. He fooled me last year and stuff like that. And as for the Eagles and stuff like that, we know what they can look like when things are gelling. But is Kellen Mond the answer to really get this offense to click? And can Saquon Barkley really be that piece that puts them together? I'm going to say that the Eagles win this matchup at home. Owen, I'll turn it over to you. Tell us your thoughts on these two teams and who you got.
I got the Eagles winning. I think it'd be a close game, but I think them adding Barkley to this mix with AJ Brown, Smith, Hooks. Yes, they lost Kelsey. People don't understand Kelsey was the main guy on that O line. The brotherly love, the tush push, not happening without Kelsey. Name a
Yeah,
center who can bench what he could. That dude can move two grown men out the way. You're gonna take a hit. Saying that, I still got them winning. I think they lose by the Green Bay lose by maybe 7 to 10 points, but they still because they're young. Packers are one of the youngest teams out there. I still think Jordan Love's gonna cook. I just think they're gonna lose this week.
that's true. Absolutely. I mean, both teams obviously can't win week one and stuff like that. And I feel like once a quarterback like what Jordan Love did last year, where he got that momentum going, and then you're starting a whole new year, you got to get that momentum going again. You don't just wake up and then automatically, resume where you left off at. But I do have, really good outlook for Green Bay this upcoming season. It's just this one right here down there in Philly and stuff like that. I feel like Jalen Hurts and company, they'll go ahead, they'll get it done. Their receivers are going to make big plays, and feed off the momentum of having a Saquon and stuff like that. I mean, it's just going to open it up for everybody else. So totally agree with that. All right, let's see. Some of the comments here says CD says, "Do you think that Rodgers is cooked and he talks too much crap?" And you say 8-9, 7-10, and that's it. You said the Jets are screwed. And so Kuzma says that Judy is overrated. And let's see. Cardozo says that Judy should eat if MVP Caliper Watson comes back. Ode, do you think that we could see an improved version of Deshaun Watson this upcoming season?
Nah, I think he's done for. It's not even me trying to be a hater or nothing. He was out of football for so long. He comes back, he gets injured. Unless if he could turn back the clock and make sure he don't get hurt, start sliding, start doing what Brady did, throwing the ball away, getting down. I don't think he's gonna last. And that's why I think the Browns head coach knows that too. I think that's why he bought James Winston in. Try to get that leader of the group in, get that one player. Hey, Watson's not doing it. I know I got Winston. Yeah, he's 30 for 30, but at least the dude's gonna go out there and be a leader and give him everything he got.
Oh yeah, he's gonna give you everything he's got. I mean, he's certainly gonna go out there and he's gonna air that ball out. Who gets it? Receiver, DB, it's up for grab, but he's gonna put that ball out there. That is for sure. As for me, my thoughts on Deshaun Watson, I feel like we'll get a better version than what we saw last year. But I don't think it'll be too much better to where we're talking about like Deshaun's back or anything like that. Certainly not to, live up to the money that they're paying him and stuff like that. But I do feel like he will be better than what we saw last year. It's just I don't think it's going to be like a lot to where it's going to be what they need at the quarterback position. So improvement, yes, but not thrilled for him. I'll put it this way: he won't be on my fantasy team this year. JB's going to go ahead and say that he will not
How
be
do
on my.
you feel? How do you feel about Josh Jacobs? Since with the Packers, they got rid of Stones. He's with the Vikings, but how you think he'll do?
I love the addition of Josh Jacobs for Green Bay. And I feel like second half of the year, they're really going to reap the benefits of having a Josh Jacobs. Now, I know that Aaron Jones had success there, but Josh Jacobs, you think about some of his better years with the Raiders and stuff like that, and just he has that drive, and I feel like going to Green Bay was a great spot for him, and he's going to excel in that role down there. So I love the addition of adding a Josh Jacobs there. And I feel like he's going to go out there and have the kind of season where you could see him rushing for upwards of 1,200 yards and a lot of touchdowns on the ground. So 12 to 1,400 probably because Green Bay, I mean, because now Jordan Love, like he's not going to have to do a lot and stuff like that. Like, yes, he'll still have his moments and stuff like that, but there'll be more balance back there, I feel like, with him consistently. So I love it. How about you?
Oh, I agree. And what's crazy to me is Josh Jacob is only 26 years old. He's still in that between rail 30. We start falling off. 25 to 30, that's where you get like a good years left. I think he's going to be good. I think he's going to take a lot of pressure off of Jordan Love. I can see them use him as a blocker more, maybe screen
Yep.
passes. I think he and AJ Dillon, because people forget they got AJ Dillon, and that dude's a bowling ball. If you need fourth and one, fourth and two, that man, give him up the gut and let him go. So I think it's a
Agreed.
great thing for Love to get him, but as a whole, it'll help your line out because they don't have to keep trying to pass. And let's be real about it. Aaron Jones getting old. He was injury a lot. You get younger, you lose a face, you lose a guy who the fans love, but you gain a really good young running back still.
I agree.
Who
I
I think the
agree.
Raiders should have kept at all costs. But
Oh, yeah. Okay. All right, so Ode, I believe it is your time to go first for this next pick between the Steelers and the Falcons for this
I got
matchup.
I have the Falcons winning
Okay.
because I think Russ is going to be the starting quarterback. I think that Smith is gonna try to prove the Falcons wrong. He should have kept me. He's gonna start calling plays that Russ can't do. They're gonna start turning the ball over. Judon's out there to prove something. He should get paid. There's defense out to prove something. Cook Duggins might show up, or Cook Cousin might. He has something to prove. I got the Falcons winning it. I,
Okay, okay.
maybe 20, 21 or 12, maybe 21 or 14 if the Steelers get lucky.
Yeah, I had to think about this because Pittsburgh, you know, I know I believe in their defense. I may not believe in their offense. I do believe in their defense. And I know that Atlanta, like they'll be gelling or just getting to gel on this first week of the season. But Atlanta is at home, and I had to check the time of the game, make sure, obviously wasn't no prime time game or nothing like that. So we're good there. I feel like it's going to be close, but I'm going to go ahead and say that Atlanta wins this one 20-16 over the Steelers there. So I'm gonna go ahead and say Atlanta at home gets this one to start off the season right at home against the Pittsburgh Steelers. But it's gonna be close. I feel like it's gonna be very close in that matchup. All right. So before we'll go to the next one, I'll go ahead and catch us up on some more comments here. All right. So CD says that Judy isn't good, just has the name. Braden says that the receiver to watch is Cedric Tillman on the Browns. Good old Cedric Tillman from the University of Tennessee, correct? And so I'd love to see Cedric Tillman step up, honestly. That would be a pleasant surprise there. Does that mean he's going to be on your fantasy team this year, Braden? And let's see. Cameron says Ravens. All right. So one for the Ravens there. Braden says Chiefs. Okay. SM says Kansas City. Black says Ravens. And so let's see. Galizo says the Chiefs 21-17 should be a good defensive game. And so I do agree. Like we look at the offense when we look at those two teams and stuff like that. But ultimately, those are some good defenses as well. You look at what Baltimore did last year. There wasn't too many times where Lamar Jackson had to go out there and like have a 5 touchdown game. Why? Because that defense was pretty solid. Same for Kansas City. When the offense did have some woes because Kadarius Tooney did everything but catch the ball. Him and Sky Moore act like they just refused to catch the ball. But hey, that defense played great. Isaiah Pacheco did his thing. And of course, Kelsey Mahomes, they did their thing. So yeah, that it should be a close defensive game. CD says Chiefs. And so let's see. Cameron says Ravens 35-33, close dub. Braden says it's going to be a close, low scoring game. And so, oh man, I'm really far behind because, yes, I'm just trying to catch up a little bit here on some of the
Oh,
comments
you're
here.
good. Catch up.
So let's see. Carmichael says you hope both the Chiefs and Ravens find a way to lose. Cameron says Mahomes gonna keep it up, but close. But Lamar's gonna pull through. I do feel like in the opener here, Lamar's going to go ahead and pull through because week one, Lamar should be at his healthiest point and stuff like that. And obviously, having Derrick Henry, that's big. That's big. And so, but yeah, AFC Championship rematch. And Braden says, yeah, they didn't run the ball enough and had too many turnovers. All right, so we'll go ahead and resume with our picks from here. And next up in this matchup, the Arizona Cardinals and the Buffalo Bills for this one. So, Buffalo. A team that has obviously tremendous quarterback there, but now you get rid of Stephon Diggs. What does that mean for Josh Allen? That means that your voice is the only voice now, and you're not having somebody else chirping and stuff like that. That means when you're in the red zone, you're not thinking, I got to feed it to Stephon Diggs. I got to feed it to Stephon Diggs. Got to feed it to him. You're not thinking that. There's going to be a lot more 2 tight end sets for them. Dalton Kincaid, he should have a good year this upcoming year as well. You hope that your first round pick goes out there and performs at wide receiver the way that you're hoping that he can and just look good. Just go out. Don't look like Quentin Johnson or something like that, basically. Just don't look like that and stuff like that. And then you talk about James Cook and what he's going to be able to provide this upcoming season. They're going to rely on him a lot. But even outside of him, you look at last season towards the end, they had a couple of different running backs they were able to bring in, and they found a lot of success that way towards the end of the season. So I say this and to say that Arizona, Marvin Harrison Jr., you guys know I love him and stuff like that. But do I love him enough to beat Buffalo and Buffalo? No. So I'm going to go ahead and go with Buffalo. Old man, take it over.
Y'all gonna hate me? I'm taking the Cardinals.
Taking the Cardinals, please preach to us. What do you see?
I see Kyle Murray. getting getting ticked off that he ain't mentioned around with one of these great quarterbacks. Oh, it was all D Hop. You can't do nothing. You're a little guy. And I think, and I've been standing on this, and I'll stand on this again. Marvin Harris Jr. is going to be better than his dad. He's not only the best receiver from this draft, he's been the best receiver from the last 3 drafts. I don't care who you say, he's going to be that dude. They're going to win this game. It's going to come down to a D Hop Hail Mary. This time, it's going to be Marvin Harris, though, coming down.
Predicting,
Plus, I
got
don't
the
think
crystal ball out.
I don't think the receivers are going to be connecting with Allen right away. I think there's going to be disconnect. Allen's going to overthrow him. They're going to fumble. Allen's going to try to play superhero because, oh, I ain't got Diggs to throw to, but guess what? I don't trust my young receivers. I got to start taking off more. I got Cardinals winning it.
Okay. Okay. And certainly, to add to the Cardinals and stuff like that, obviously having a healthy, or at least you would like to think healthy, James Conner, that does help a lot. That makes a difference. Him, then they drafted Trey Benson and stuff like that as well to complement with him. So I can certainly see this game being a lot closer than most people would think. And it certainly could be anybody's game late in the game. But ultimately, I feel like the difference is going to be the coaching and stuff like that towards the end of the game, to where Buffalo's going to find a way to win this one and stuff like that. So I got Buffalo obviously up there. But let's go ahead and catch up on a couple more comments here. And so SM says the NBC presents Taylor Swift featuring the Chiefs versus the Ravens. Cameron also says that he's a future teller. That's great to know. And let's see, Black says future storyteller. Braden says, yeah, the Texans have so many weapons. Texans had a really good offseason. Oh man, meet me in the ring. He's calling you out, old. Let's see. SM says that the Texans are stacked, but Old is right. Kansas City is top dog until someone knocks them off. And so totally agree with that. Totally agree with that. And it's like I said before, it's not about so much how you look, August and stuff like that, and a little bit in September. Yes, you got to win games, but it's all about getting hot once it turns November, once it turns December, obviously January. And I feel like the Chiefs, they know when to get hot at the right time. And let's see. Carmichael says, you're good, JB. Today is your 16th birthday. You're officially 16. Happy birthday, Carmichael. Hold on. We got to play the happy birthday for you.
Happy birthday!
So, yeah,
Yeah,
happy
definitely
birthday.
happy birthday.
Hooray! Hooray!
Yes, happy birthday. So, yes, 16. Oh, man. JB's got to think back a while to think about being 16 again. So, but yes, I'm glad that your summer's been good and just hanging out with your girlfriend. That's what's up. That's what's up. So glad to have you come through on your birthday. Hopefully you are living it up. And let's see. Oh, Ode, I'm gonna let you speak your mind on this one. But Cameron says he got the Pats going 0-17.
I would love it, tell you the truth. Not gonna lie. If you look at the game and we lose all these games, first pick in the draft, New York Giants, Raiders, the Panthers, they could all be looking for, depending on where that goes, the Cowboys could all be looking for a QB. If you could get that and you could flip it and get Will Campbell or Kevin Banks with the left tackle, I'd be happy. I just want to see Drake May so that he could be the guy, so that the rookies and so that these coaches actually know what they're doing. Build the foundation. Don't care about wins or losing, so that you actually kill your team and the build down there. We're in the rebuild. It's gonna take 2 to 3 years. I don't know why everybody wants to. Oh, we need to win. We need to win now. No, best thing for New England itself. Go lose as many games as you can and
I
build.
believe, yeah, I believe that CDs is sharing the same mind that I am about. We can't be like that now. Not 0-17. At least give us, 2 or 3 and all like that. What I need to see from this season is I need to, at some point throughout the season, if it's late, that's great. Like just at some point when Drake May does get an opportunity, do good enough so we can attract a number one receiver who actually wants to play. With us. If we don't show enough and they're just like, oh, we don't want to go down there. It's been, like it's just been so bad at quarterback and stuff like that. And that's been the case the last couple of years and stuff like that. So at least let them do enough to show the league, like, okay, the kid's got potential. So we don't mind going there and taking and breaking the bank to do it. Of course, that's what we're going to have to do. But if we want a number one receiver to come in the offseason next year, we can't go out there and go like, 0 and 17 and not show anything because these
Oh,
players have
I
shown like
understand.
they want to show that they can win now. They don't want to be a part of a long rebuild process, not a number one receiver. So that's important.
Oh, saying
Let's
what
see.
I said though, I had Pats winning 4 to 5 games
Okay, so
this
4 to 5
year.
games. Where do you think that would put the Pats in terms of like like would that be like bottom three, like at number three, perhaps worse in the
I
league?
think three. I think top three pick this year, but I think they be the bottom team of the AFC again, maybe depending on what Titans do, depending on how Watson looks. If the Browns lose their quarterback, are they going to be able to plug in Winston and ball out, or is he going to go back to 30-30 again, throwing 30 touchdowns but 30 picks?
And so, yeah, let's see. Cameron says worst team equals good draft pick for the Pats, and we do need the pick now. We do need the pick. Lewis, my guy, what's good with you, Lewis? How are you doing? I was a little concerned there, and I mean, all the shots you had to take yesterday because all the scoring that the Bears did. But hope you are well. Absolutely. So we'll go ahead and get with the next pick. And so, oh, is it your turn to go first or mine? I think I went first with the Buffalo pick. So your turn to go
Yeah, it's
first.
my turn. I got Chicago winning it. I just think Williams is gonna go out there. They're gonna try to ease him into it the first half. So you're gonna get a lot of run, a lot of the clock milk, and then you're gonna get those flash plays. Williams gonna throw on the run. DJ Moore for 25, and then DJ's gonna book it for a touchdown. I don't think the Titans are older too. Not to hate, but they got bought in a lot of older players. And look what's happening. They already getting hurt. D Hop got hurt already. You got Calvin Ridley, but when they double teaming Ridley, you really think Boyd's gonna go able to go man to man somebody up in his age when he was the wide receiver 3 with the Bengals? Is he gonna be able to step up? I got the Bills winning it though. It's gonna be a close game because I think both teams are gonna run the ball a lot and then try to air it out. But I got Chicago winning it.
Okay. All right. So for JB's pick here between the Titans and the Bears, I mean, when I look at this matchup, obviously when I think about Tennessee, do I really trust Will Levis that much right now? We're talking about a road game early in the season and stuff like that. Will Levis, did he show sparks? Yes, but he showed me that he was more of a one read type of quarterback right now. And so, and this Bears defense, I feel like it's going to be legit this upcoming season. So I feel like Tennessee's not going to score that much. Tony Pollard, even when he was with Dallas last year, they they tried to hand it off to multiple backs there just because he's not the kind of guy that's going to go out there and take 20 carries and stuff like that. And so I look at the Bears, the addition of not just only drafting Caleb Williams, but the guys they put around him. I feel like he's set up for success. And while this game should be a close game, not as much scoring, not as much scoring as we saw them do in the preseason and stuff like that. But I do think that the Bears will win at home, opening game. Everybody's gonna be fired up for this one. I think Chicago wins this one. And if Caleb Williams is as good as everyone says he is, or most people believe he is, this is a game in which they got to win this one against Tennessee. I feel like.
My biggest problem with Levis though is he does not know how to slide or does not know how to like not try to truck people. He thinks he's Superman. Dude, you can only truck so many times before that right elbow or that right arm pop, and you ain't throwing 90 yards no more. You can only throw 15 because your arm is messed up.
Absolutely. All right, now we'll catch up on a couple more comments here. All right, let's see. CD says we're gonna turn some heads. We're not gonna be a playoff team, but we'll be in some games. And of course, with the defense built how it is, like we just got to see how the offense is going to look. Like the offense just can't be terrible, terrible. And it's really going to be up to the young guys out there at receiver. And hopefully we find a combination that works on the offensive line for us. Let's see. SM says Packers. And let's see. Garlizo says the Packers in a somewhat upset 27-20. And let's see. Cameron says Eagles are going to win 48-3. And so CD says Eagles. Okay, let's see. Garlizo says the Eagles secondary is too questionable for you still. And let's see. Cameron says, all right, I'm going to stop trolling. You got the Eagles winning 27-24 in a close game. Brayden says, you hate saying this, but you got the Eagles. Brayden, so you went against your own Packers for this one? I am flabbergasted here. And let's see. Cameron says, you think the Packers got second in division, though? Okay. RC's in the building. What's good with you? Sorry it took a minute to get to your comment there, but RC says, salute, salute. And so, RC, great to have you here. All right, so we'll go ahead and get the next game up there. So let's see. I went last, so it's my turn to go first for the Pats versus Bengals. And it hurts me to say it, but obviously I'll start talking about New England first. You guys know I'm a Patriots fan there, but Jacoby Brissett, I feel like will be quarterbacking week 1. And so, with that being said, Jacoby Brissett has not looked comfortable, which was something that I was really hoping to see from him and stuff like that. Just look comfortable back there, but he has not looked comfortable. If anything, he looks like he's kind of regressed from what I seen, especially 2 years ago, even some last year as well. But that being said, obviously going down to Cincinnati, Cincinnati's going to be fired up. They know that they can't afford to drop a game in that division. So I've got the Bengals winning that one. I don't think that I think it'll be a 2-score victory that the Bengals win because I know that Cincinnati typically gets off to a bit of a slow start. And again, I know that the Patriots defense, is better than people probably remember. So I got the Bengals winning by 2 possessions. It may not be necessarily 2 touchdowns, but 2 possessions. So, Ode, your thoughts?
I think I got the Bengals by a lot. I think there's gonna be a lot of what new, a lot of what if. The O line is rough. I think the Bengals are gonna come out and Bo's gonna show everybody, hey, y'all think I was hurt, y'all think I'm not good. Well, I'm about to drop some like I can see them dropping 50 almost on New England. And it's sad to be that point, but look at the facts. If Marcus Jones, Jonathan Jones can't go, you really gonna put what? Gonzo on T. Higgins? Who's gonna block Chase if he plays? Who's gonna stop the run? It's too much ifs. I got the Bengals and New England fans to buckle up because it's gonna be a long season.
I mean, if they're out there dropping 50 plus on our defense, then yeah, you're absolutely right. If,
I
that, if
wouldn't it
that's the
wouldn't
case,
shock me. Would it shock you, JB?
I mean, I
With how much injury we have? And like,
with all
yeah, I
the injuries
understand
and stuff,
Mayo's Bill Jr., but losing Bill is like, yeah, the offense was horrible, but that defense, then you got with Zudon. Barmoy's not playing.
I would be
I wouldn't.
angry at management with all the money that we spent to re-sign the guys that we currently have, young guys on the defensive side of the ball, because that's the only thing we spent money on is keeping those guys. And if we just got like the break speed off of us in a week 1 game in which you had so many guys sitting out for contracts and stuff, and still figuring things out for the Bengals. I mean, if this was mid-season form, then yeah, it could get that ugly. But I don't know. I mean, I like to think an NFL team, on more times than not, will not go out there and let them not by like 50. But if that's the case, then yeah, JB needs to sit down and sit back, because that'd be bad. That'd be bad. But let's see what the chat says, in which I know I'm really far behind here. CD says hot take of the week: Steelers. And so Mike says Jaden Reed had a great year. He did have a great year last year. SM says Falcons. All right. Kuzman says agree with my old man. Okay. Totally agree. CD says that Steelers defense and Kirk is still learning a new system. So is Russ, but that defense is years. They know how to play together. And so Lewis says Steelers mainline. Okay. RC says, I'm just here to agree with SM. You say NBC presents Taylor Swift and the Chiefs versus the Ravens. CD says Bills. Okay. Let's see. RC says Arizona. All right, so agrees with Ode on that one. Mike says your receivers are mid for the Bills. CD says in a close one. SM has the Cardinals as well. So quite a few people for the Cardinals there, in which I can totally see that. I can totally see that. And so Lewis says Bills -5. And Mike says, who will beat the Cardinals? They got mid. I said, we will beat the Cardinals. They got mid roster, mid. So Mike says, do not come disrespecting his Bills like that. Braden says the Bills are going to win. Okay, and Cameron says the Bills are going to win 38-17, Dub, week 1. And you like Marvin Harrison Jr., but that's not enough. And speaking of Marvin Harrison Jr., where do you guys think that he's going to finish amongst rookies in terms of having the best season and stuff like that? When I say rookies, that includes quarterbacks, running backs, just overall, when it's all said and done at the end of the season, will he be like maybe second or third when it comes to voting for Offensive Rookie of the Year? How do you guys feel about that? Maybe even first. And so, man,
I
we're
got
really
him
behind in
top
the
three.
comments here, Ode.
I got him top three.
Top 3. Yeah, same here, top 3.
I got
Top 3.
him because May's not starting, but I got him behind Williams, Daniels, and then I got Marvin.
Yeah, I've got him behind Williams. I feel like in that offense, he's going to have a tremendous amount of opportunities. And if Kyler Murray can stay healthy for the entire season, that's really going to help. That's going to help a lot in that case. Let's see. RC says that he wants Arizona to win, but perhaps you're wrong because you're being very biased. You say Allen throws multiple picks. Arizona wins a close game. And Cameron says, bold take mob, bold. And Lewis says Bears Titans under 44.5. Okay. And SM says there's always upsets week 1, and I think this is one of them. It's going to be a close game. You're absolutely right. Absolutely right. There are always upsets. It's just trying to pinpoint what those upsets are going to be and stuff like that. Absolutely. And so, all right. So we'll go ahead and get to the next one on the list here. And so, whose turn is it? Oh, I keep forgetting whose
It's
turn is it
my
to go
turn.
first. All right, there we go.
I got Houston Texans winning just because if you watched Anthony Richardson so far in the preseason, I know it's preseason, I know he's coming back for injuries. Something's up with him. He's missing wide open people. He's throwing in a triple team. He's throwing hospital balls. And with the Texans getting that defense together, bringing in Griffin from the Vikings, Hunter, I mean, bringing him in, bringing in, re-signing Zach Mason before the guard market went up is a great pick by them. They got the vet who would teach these young players how to play offense. They got him good. They got so Mixon, like you said, they got Stephon Diggs, Tank Dell, and they got Nicole. How are you gonna stop that offense if you're the Colts?
Yeah,
I
that's
got them. I think Texans might be beating them from 14 to 21 points.
14 to 21 points. Bold take there. Bold take. Okay. But you know what's even bolder? What I seen from Indianapolis, not gonna lie, was not impressed in the preseason. But that being said, it's something about divisional games. You look at these two teams when they played each other last year was extremely close. Matter of fact, we keep forgetting that we were super close to Indianapolis. If they were able to convert on that fourth and short, it would have been Indianapolis that would have made the playoffs instead of the Houston Texans last year. And so would it be in a divisional game? And we know upsets tend to happen more within the division. Both teams know each other and stuff like that. And plus, we saw how amazing CJ Stroud was last year. I know that. I'm well aware of that. But will he start off right off the gate picking up where he left off at? Or will it take him maybe a week or two to get to that level? I mean, they're going to put up some points and stuff like that. I could see a game where it's probably more a little bit closer to where it's like 24-17 and stuff like that. So to say this and to say that, trying to project an upset coming from a team that was able to compete hard with Gardner Minshew. If Anthony Richardson can put together a good game and stuff like that, him, Jonathan Taylor, and stuff like that, I can see Indianapolis defending their home turf and what would be an upset here. So JB's going to take Indianapolis here on a very big, I guess, upset over the Houston Texans. Again, I still believe in Houston, but those divisional games is a good one to pick an upset on. So And as RC said, your boy is 5 days behind on the comments, and he says, "I'll never catch up. By the time JB sees this comment, will be the start of the NFL wild card round." So, yes. And it's just something about that Indianapolis defense. I do feel like that defense rises to the occasion sometimes in big games as well. So I'm just going to chalk this one up to them being at home and stuff like that and finding a way to sneak this one through. And so I'm sure Mr. JB will be happy about that. But man, I'll try again to catch up on some more comments here. Lewis says the Patriots 0-16 and 1. I appreciate that one tie you gave us, Lewis. I really appreciate that. Carmichael says, got out of school today, and this is your junior year. Haven't gotten on a stream in a while. Decided that there wasn't a better day than today to get on. That's right. And let's not forget, a week from today will be our fantasy league draft and stuff like that in my fantasy league. So that'll be fun. Let's see. CD says, facts, JB. I need one. I've been wanting one since 2020. And you say the Titans. Let's see. SM says Bears. CD says, not a fan of Caleb. That is all. And let's see, Mike Mama says, if you can't say anything nice, don't talk about 2024 Patriots. Mike, Mike, I see what you did there. She might be right, y'all. Let's not hurt JB's feelings now.
Y'all gonna need to talk about us. We horrible. We all know.
Yes. And let's see. CD says Bengals. Unfortunately, the issue with Jacoby, once we're down, we're stuck in neutral yeah, neutral. And so SM says you're on the Cincinnati. On to Cincinnati has a different meaning these days than it did back then, right? Old, you're on to
Oh,
Cincinnati.
back then it meant we're gonna win the game. Now,
Yeah,
I don't
right.
know.
Now we're just debating how bad is it going to be at this
Yo,
point.
yeah.
Let's see. CD says second behind Daniels. And he says Texans. Okay, okay. And RC says that if the Bears don't beat the Titans and they aren't as promising as I feel they could be, and you don't believe in the Titans much. And so, yeah, I don't believe in the Titans much. I mean, I don't believe too much, I guess, in the Jacksonville Jaguars either this upcoming season, but I believe in the Titans less and stuff like that overall. So this is definitely a rebuild for them. So we'll see how that works out for them. But JB is not a believer in the Tennessee Titans for 2024 at all. SM says the Texans in a blowout. I believe your boy caught up here. So how about that, Ode? We did catch up. All right. So next is my
That's
turn to
great.
go first here. So between the Jaguars and the Miami Dolphins, in which Miami at home, Tua got paid, Trevor Lawrence also got paid. You know, oh man, I Tyreek, they're gonna feast here against Jacksonville. I got Miami winning this one, and yeah, I'm convinced Miami's gonna win this one. So I'm not even gonna fluff with this one. I'll go ahead and pick Miami to win this one. There's just too much talent on that offensive side of the ball, and I got Dolphins winning this one. How about you, Ode?
I got Dolphins too. Like, there's nothing to think about it. Dolphins all around better team. And to me,
Exactly.
I'll stay on this like I've been. Lawrence is just another quarterback to me. He's nothing special. He's nothing, not like he didn't live up to the hype. He's not the Andrew Luck or the Peyton Manning of this generation. He he's lucky that Matt Jones didn't go to the 49ers or he'd be the second quarterback in that draft.
Yep. So yeah, so that covers how you feel about that one. But let's see in the chat here. Cameron says he's got the Dolphins. Okay. And Lewis says Patriot fans will be feeling what I went through as a Bears fan for years. And so, Lewis, we've shown nothing but support for your Chicago Bears.
I
But yeah,
will
I think
say this though. If Chicago does not do good this year, head coach needs to go. The lady upstairs, somebody needs to kick her out because there is no reason other than injuries the Chicago Bears shouldn't be a playoff team fighting deep in the playoffs with the weapons and the defense they have. They need to win.
absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, Lewis. Let's see. Cameron says, Lewis, let's be honest. All right. So next up is the Carolina and the Saints game. So, Ode, you start that one off.
I got New Orleans Saints. I don't trust Bryce Young. I think he is Mac Jones 2.0 in the terms that he needs everything to good to be around him, be good to play. I do like the fact that they bumped up the O line. However, the defense did take a hit. I got the Saints winning it because I think Carr knows he's on the hot seat. He might not admit it, but he knows, yo, my time is coming. They took a young guy with talent upside. Time for me to win against these weak teams. And so, hey, I'm still QB1. So I got the Saints winning.
Absolutely. When you think of Saints, the first thing you think about is that defensive side of the ball and stuff like that, historically speaking. And then going against Carolina. And while I do like the fact that Carolina, they showed that they tried in the offseason, but is it enough to change, the gap that was from last year and stuff? No, that's not the case there. So being at home for the Saints on top of that, I got the Saints winning. This game might be a little bit close early on, but the Saints still find a way to win later on. So I've got the Saints winning this one as well. Again, like Bryce Young, do I feel like he'll do better than last year? I do feel that way. He's a smart kid, no doubt about that. But as you mentioned, he needs to have the perfect pieces around him in order for him to reach his true upside, and it's not there. Carolina's not there yet. All right.
Cameron, Allen did gain weight, but he's still cutting routes like his old weight. Gaining that weight, only that gaining that weight did for him is make him a better blocker.
About how much weight did he gain?
Last time I checked, he gained 10 or 15 pounds. They at once said he was up to 20-25 pounds.
Oh wow. I mean,
But
putting on
last
some
time
weight.
I checked, he was 10 to 15 pounds heavier than last year. But he's still cutting routes like he's Allen.
Still slicing them. Still slicing them. Okay, and Cameron's got the Saints. And let's see, you say he's trying to be a tight end.
Hey,
And so
never know.
I mean, is I feel great for Caleb having a guy like Keenan Allen because I can't tell you how many times in fantasy football, when in doubt, I'm like, all right, where's Keenan Allen at and stuff like that? Because I know that Herbert's going to find him when he needs to make a play and stuff like that. Now, Mike Williams, up and down, but Keenan Allen, I knew what you knew what you were going to get and stuff like that. And then, not to mention, he's got help around him as well, other receivers too. So I like it. Now we'll see how this whole weight gain stuff, works out for him, but I like it.
And think about who Willie wins. Like you said, Williams win, and then Rome, the wide receiver they drafted in first round. He's the big winner of this because not only do you have DJ Moore to learn from, you got Keenan Allen, one of the best route runners ever in the game.
Yep.
He can teach you little tricks and everything. And like I said, like you said, you got DJ Moore, who's gonna take people away from him. Keenan Allen's gonna go in that slot. Then you got Big Rome, who's gonna go up and go get him. Yeah, Bill's gonna be dangerous this year. If everybody stays healthy and they get right, oh,
Yep. Let's not forget about good old Cole Kmet as well. Speaking of tight ends, so they
Swift too.
they got pieces. Yep, Swift out the backfield. They got some pieces now. Oh man, this next matchup, I just looked at it and I just said this is not going to be a game that JB's going to be tuning in for. But Minnesota Vikings on the road at the New York Football Giants. And before I make my pick, I got to mention the disaster that New York is about to look like this year. I mean, you got Daniel Jones quarterback, and you saw what he did already in the preseason. The man looks as bad as he did his rookie year. Matter of fact, he looks worse because his rookie year, I felt like he just had a fumbling problem his rookie year, but it just got worse and stuff like that. It spread like just badly for him. And so obviously they have nobody that I fear in that backfield. I mean, Devin Singletary, I believe that's the back that they picked up and stuff like that. I feel like he can have an okay year, but is Devin Singletary gonna change life right now for the Giants and stuff like that? I don't think so. But on the other hand, you got Sam always seeing Ghost Darnold back there quarterbacking. But I will say this, having better weapons than he's ever had in his lifetime and stuff like that out there at wide receiver. You got Aaron Jones in the backfield along with Ty Chandler and stuff like that. They can do enough to where they can put up a good solid, like, 20 points or something like that, 17, 20 points. And I don't think the Giants will score that much. So I think the Vikings will win that one probably 20-10, even if Daniel Jones makes a big turnover that gifts Minnesota with 7 points or something like that in that game. So I got the Vikings beating the Giants here. Take it away, Old.
I got the Vikings, like you said. I don't trust. Yes, Vikings got Samson and Darnold, but you know what the Vikings have that the New York Giants don't have, or Giants, I mean, don't have. They don't have one of the best receivers in the game. Sam, all you gotta do is throw it up. Jefferson's gonna come down with it. 9 out of 10 times the dude's gonna come down with it. And Daniel Jones, I bet you New York Giants fans, the head coach, the owner, are kicking themselves they didn't make an offer to New England that they couldn't turn down for Drake May right now, because Neighbors wide open, Wyatt wide open, and what happens on clockwork? Danny Dimes throws to the other team. I
Hmm.
got Vikings winning because I think Daniel Dimes gonna throw a pick six in the fourth quarter to end the game, like you said, by 10 points.
Oh, yeah, I can see that. I can see
And I
that.
got Drew Lock starting by week 8.
Okay, Drew Lock by week 8. Oh, man, it's going to be a long year for the Giants as well. Okay, so your turn. Let's see. But yeah, so Cameron's got the Vikings winning 17-3, and Lewis says the Giants +3. And so, all right. So for this next one, go ahead and get us started here.
I got the Raiders in this one
Okay.
because I think their defense is gonna be top notch. You got Crosby, you got Wilkins. They're gonna be middle nasty defense. The Raiders' problem was the run defense. Well, you got one of the best run stoppers in the league. You got a lot of new. You got Justin Herbert had to figure out what the young receivers are gonna be like. You got a lot of new. The Chargers are gonna try to run the ball more, and it's gonna put them back because we all know hardball likes one thing: run the ball. Boom, 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 boom. Run the ball, run the ball. So I got the Raiders winning, but it's gonna be a close game. My biggest thing with the Raiders is the watch for it. How long can Minshew keep the young buck out of QB1?
It's true. All right. So I'll take over. All right. So the Raiders and the Chargers. I'll start with the Chargers. I'll start with what I love about the Chargers. Justin Herbert. I have been a Justin Herbert advocate. It starts and it stops with my admiration for Justin Herbert. I don't like anything else that they've got going on down there. Now, I do appreciate the fact that they are trying to build out the offensive line first and then go there. But what I don't appreciate is how you got rid of all of his weapons. You just took away everything from the man and said, "Hey, we need you to be Superman every game." That's a formula for disaster right there. And for me, Gardner Minshew is a guy that I have as a dark horse player. Looking at what he did last year in Indianapolis and stuff like that, then you're telling me you're going to upgrade his receivers and stuff like that. So it's going to help, him to, I feel like, either sustain the success he had last year or even elevate it maybe a little bit even higher. So I like the Raiders in this one also. I just feel like it's going to come together for them. And Chargers, they just got a lot going on. I don't like it. And Jim Harbaugh is not going to be able to steal anybody's signs in this one. So, yeah, Raiders are going to win this one. And so that's how it's going to be. It's probably going to be something
I
like 24-17, I could see maybe, but Raiders win this one. All right, let's go ahead and make sure that we stay caught up with the comments here. So Cameron says Sam Darnold got JJ Addison. Yep, you got JJ and plus Addison, Aaron Jones, Ty Chandler, TJ Hawks. How can you lose? That's right. I mean, at some point, you just have so many weapons that it's like, okay, like this is a lot to work with here. You think about what they loved about him in San Francisco, and they had an admiration for Sam Darnold there. But hey, if you put the right pieces around him and stuff like that, you could take an ugly pumpkin and you can paint up, for Halloween and take the paint out and paint it to look nice and all like that. And that's what you can do with a guy like Sam Darnold when you got that many weapons. Again, we're not saying he's going to go out there and drop 30 plus points and stuff like that. And let's not forget, they still got what, Nick Mullins as a backup? Is he still on the roster for the Vikings? And stuff like that, to where if need be and they need to make a switch, they can do that. Am I right,
I
Old?
believe he. I believe he is.
Okay, well, assuming that they still got him, and if not, just correct me in the chat, guys. But I mean, hey, Nick Mullins showed that he can have some ups and downs, but he can move the ball if they need to go, if they need to take that route, if it ever gets that bad. So definitely, you know, taking that route there with Minnesota in that one. I just don't like anything for the Giants at all. And let's see, Cameron
JB,
says
you're
also got the
right.
right.
They do have Nick.
All right, they do. Okay, bet. So that just gives me an extra sense of security because we already saw what he looks like for Minnesota, and there was a time where he looked okay, but the turnovers killed it. But you take away the turnovers and stuff like that, I still that's a nice floor to have. So absolutely. All right, let's see. Cameron says Chargers got so many problems, and a new head coach is going to take a minute. And so Kuzma said Raiders will definitely win. And you say Nick Mullins is with the Vikes still. And so, all right, appreciate that. Appreciate that. All right. Oh, who's up next to go first? And I keep forgetting.
Uh, I think
I think it's
it's my
you. Is it
turn.
not? Yeah, it's your turn. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, my turn. I got the Broncos winning this one. I'll be the first one to say it. I know it's preseason, but Bo Nix is proving me wrong late so far. I thought he was gonna be a bust right off the bat, but Tom Payton got him playing real good. He reminds me. I think he could have a good season. I don't. I think they're gonna get the ball out quick. I think they're gonna run the ball a lot. I got the Broncos winning because I think that also the head coach comes in this. People can say what they want. Sean Payton, when it comes to offensive plays, very smart. Get that keep moving the team around, get that defense off, take a deep shot. I got the Broncos in a shock win against them.
Okay. Okay, that's a good pick. And I can see all the reasons. And again, Bo Nix, I mean, you talk about who's a player in the preseason that has changed your opinion and stuff like that. I mean, even back when he was at Oregon and stuff like that, I knew he did a lot of things good and stuff like that. I picked Oregon twice, both times when they played Washington last year to win. I was wrong both times, but there was no doubt that when he got to Oregon, it was a transformation for him. You look back at what he was at Auburn, we're not even going to go that route there, but absolutely, totally understand that. And I feel like he's going to have a good year. However, going down to Seattle for your first start in a regular season game, that 12th man is real. I know that they're probably not the hottest team on paper, but I feel like they've done a good job drafting over the last couple of years and new direction, new coach here. They're going to come out with a little something to prove here. Gino, he's a fighter. He's never going to be the sexy take and stuff like that, but he is someone that's going to go out there and give his team an opportunity to go out there and win. So I'm going to go ahead and say that Seattle wins this one at home. I like them because they're at home here. So Seahawks for me. And a close one. It's going to be a close one. All right, let's see. SM says Raiders in an ugly win, and he says Denver in this one. And let's see. Cameron says, as a Vikings fan, I'm happy with what we did this offseason. New defense pieces was already knowing Sam was going to start, but I thought JJ McCarthy was going to come in midseason and show what he got. And so, yeah, that was a terrible injury. That's just bad luck right there. And how often do you see that happen to a first round pick in a preseason game where you're losing for the season? I mean, that was just terrible luck, but he did show me something as well and stuff like that. So I mean, this is coming from a guy, obviously, I know the kids from Michigan and stuff like that, but he showed me like, hey, like the kids got something. JB could definitely have been wrong about him, prior to the draft and stuff like that. So it was a shame to see that injury. And so I was looking forward to seeing him in that actual regular season. Ode, your thoughts?
Yeah, I was when he went down. I felt bad. I thought he could have in that situation with Jefferson, TJ, and the system that they're gonna run. I thought he would have taken over by week 5. I'm not a Sam Darnold fan. I think they would have started Sam to get JJ more caught up. And then with him getting injured, the only thing I can think is Vikings get a better pick, maybe fix up that O line better, get a corner, or say effort and get another receiver and let JJ ball out.
So absolutely. Meanwhile, we got 80s again. Appreciate the super chat there. Got to make the sound here real quick. Appreciate you. And he says, JB and old man, that Netflix series receiver didn't have AJ Brown, and he wants to know why. Ode, would you like to take a shot at this one first?
Nah. Is it because AJ Brown said no to them?
I
I
wondered
don't
about
know.
that. I would imagine
Because
that.
that's
Yeah,
the
go
only
ahead.
reason I could think why not. Because say what you want, AJ Brown's at worst the fifth best receiver in the NFL. I
Hmm.
know before players like QBs told Manning no, they didn't want to go on the show. Told other people no, my agent doesn't think I should go on there. Or maybe the Eagles told him, hey, we don't think it's a good idea. Come back. Let's focus on football. Let's try to win this deal. Because I don't understand why you wouldn't have him on there.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, like, definitely he should have been up there. Like, no doubt. I mean, you put, and I get, Devontae Adams and stuff like that. And even he was hesitant to do it. So that's why I wasn't sure if maybe he got the call and he declined and stuff like that. Obviously, I don't know him personally to know his personality when it comes to that, but it could have just been a case where maybe he just didn't want to do it. I would have to think that they at least thought about giving the man a call. I mean, but yeah, that's a good question there. That's a good question. Meanwhile, Lewis says Browns by 20. And let's see. 80 says that AJ Brown is a beast, and Cameron says that AJ Brown didn't get a call. Womp womp. And let's see, 80 says, I think JB and Bill Belichick's son mullet stopped it. And so, I mean, what can I say? We got some strings, so we used our connections. So absolutely. But yeah, good question though. Good question. Speaking of the Cowboys and Browns, in which this time I believe it's what my turn to go first. So going down to Cleveland and stuff like that. I I want to say that Cleveland will win. I want to say that Cleveland will win this game and stuff like that. But will Cleveland defense be able to replicate what they did last year? Because last year their defense was tremendous and stuff like that. Now I'll admit I hadn't been paying a lot of attention in terms of what offseason moves they made defensively, but I do know that there's a guy named Miles Garrett there. That's big. And Cowboys in this one, I don't expect Zeke to be able to run the ball like at all against them. If that Browns defense is anything remotely like what they were last year, and it's going to be pretty tough to pass the ball. And then Dak, will CD be out there? Do we know for a fact at that point that he's going to be out there and ready to go? And so they're going to have to pass it a lot or try to pass it a lot for the Dallas Cowboys. So I can see, oh man, but my only hesitation, because right now I'm still internally making that battle in terms of who I pick for this one, is knowing that Deshaun Watson is quarterback one here. And the moment that he gets Mika Parson coming at him, is he just going to just take the sack, eat the sack, and not be able to move the ball and finish the game with like 165 yards passing or something like that? And like they really don't, excel there. It's going to be a close one, probably a little bit lower scoring as well. But I'm going to go ahead and say that I'm going to take the Dallas Cowboys here. I just cannot trust Deshaun Watson enough to choose Cleveland. I was going back and forth here, but I'm going to go Dallas with this one. Ode, your thoughts and pick.
I was gonna go Cowboys, but with CD telling Jerry he's waiting for that phone call, waiting for to get paid, he might not play. And I'm looking at the team as it is right now. I'm taking Cleveland. I think Nick Subs has a year where he has to prove himself. A lot of rumors last year in the offseason, including they might move on from him. They might cut him. They might try to trade him. This year he can prove, hey, I got the Browns winning because I don't think the Cowboys defense won't be able to stop the run. I don't think Watson will be asked to do so much. And I think Cooper is gonna show up and tell him, hey,
Ooh,
remember Dallas, you could have paid me. You let me go. Now you're dealing with the same thing. Well, guess what? Maybe I get 2 touchdowns, 100 yards, 120. That's to prove to you, you blew it with me, and now you're gonna blow it with CD. I got Cleveland winning,
okay.
not because of Washington though.
In spite of Watson.
I don't trust Washington at all.
There are two key factors for me when it comes to this game, particularly. If CD plays and stuff like that, that's great. That means Dallas is going to be, Dallas and stuff like that. But if CD doesn't play, then JB reserves the right to try to switch it later on. But with that being said, for Cleveland, the X factor, it has to be about Deshaun Watson. Like if he just plays like just do better than last year because we've seen what the offense can look like with a quarterback that like even with Joe Flacco play, if you can reach that level and stuff like that, then that's all we're asking for. We're not asking you to be MVP to Sean Watson. We're not asking you to go out there and play the way they're paying you and stuff like that. We're just asking you to be a top 20 quarterback. Is that too much to ask and all like that to be a top 20 quarterback from Deshaun Watson? I feel like that's all they need from him really. Because you got the guys that once Cooper gets hot and stuff like that, ain't no stopping him. And Joku as well. So, but you got to get the ball. You got to get him the ball for them to get hot. So, absolutely. And let's see. 80 says got to get a refill. SM says Dallas. And so, okay, okay. All right. All right. So this time, Ode, is your turn to go first.
I got the Buccaneers. I think Daniel Daniels gonna be a good quarterback. I like what the Commanders are trying to do. They on the offense, they're trying to build that O line up. They're trying to get receivers to step up and play better. I just think Tampa defense is gonna get to them. They're gonna try to run it more. I like Cliff as an OC, but I can also see him trying to do some trick plays that won't work out for him. And I think Baker's gonna be proven again why he should have got paid, why he is a top 15 quarterback in the NFL. With Mike Evans, Godwin being healthy again, I think they're gonna win.
Okay. Okay. I feel like the Washington Commanders, first game, like it just feels like we're starting fresh here. My guy Jaden Daniels is going to go out there and, there's obviously no NFL game film on the Commanders and stuff like that. And so I think this is a game where Daniels utilizes his legs, utilizes the creativity. Him, Scary Terry out there on the outside and stuff like that. Obviously they picked up what Austin Eckler and stuff like that. And I know he's not, not anything when it comes to running the ball anymore, but he still can provide that cash passion out the backfield and stuff like that. That's going to be big for them. They still have Robinson in the backfield as well. And so I just feel like a new regime. And then you talk about Tampa Bay, Baker. He lost his offensive coordinator, yet another offensive coordinator. And so is that going to impact him and stuff like that, opening week and stuff like that? And I just feel like this can be the kind of game where the Commanders, they stay with them, and then next thing you know, we're getting something crazy that happens. Maybe Tampa Bay misses a game-winning field goal or something like that, and then Washington pulls off the upset here. So I'm going to go ahead and pick Washington in this one to win. And so, but it's gonna be a close one. I feel like this one's gonna be a game that comes down to the last 3 minutes of the game and stuff like that. So, and Jaden's just gonna show that, hey, he's got that, he's special. He's special. So let's see. SM says got the Commanders in a surprise blowout. And so, okay, a surprise blow. That would be a surprise there. That would be a surprise. But hey, if it happens, I definitely gotta give SM that one. No doubt about it.
If that happens, that means a lot of people got injured, or Baker just went back to being Browns Baker, throwing picks left and right.
We'll see with the new coordinator. We will see. Now, I don't think he's going to revert back to that because I feel like when he was playing like that for Cleveland, he was dealing with that shoulder injury. He was just too stubborn to sit out and admit that he was too hurt to play and try to play through it. And they always say you don't want to put out bad film and stuff like that. That's what ruined it for him in Cleveland. He honestly had no business playing after he sustained that injury while trying to make a tackle off his own interception. So
True. Plus, hate to say it, he doesn't have an OBJ who's telling him, "I need the ball. I need the ball. I need the ball. Give me the ball." Mike Evans is the type of guy. Hey, you get me the ball, and I get my points or whatever. I can
exactly.
get my yards. I'm fine as long as we win.
Mhm.
OBJ, he wanted the ball back then because he didn't want to go to Cleveland. He even said New York Giants sent him to Cleveland to punish him.
I think Washington wins it. Final score being with the final score being like Washington 24, Tampa Bay 20, something like that. And so let's see. But Lewis says Rams, let's go. SM says facts, Lewis. And so okay, okay. Well, JB's up here for the pick. And so oh man, Rams and Lions. This one is going to be a close one. This one's going to be a back and forth game. This is going to come down to whoever has the ball last is going to win this one. Matthew Stafford. You got, your boy Cooper Cup. Obviously, you got your boy Nicole. You got your boys out there. You got Kyron in the backfield. You got the crew out there. And you know what? Nobody's really talking about you all that much, despite the fact that you got the talent. Yes, we know you lost Aaron Donald and stuff like that, and it's going to take a team effort to replace him. However, Dan Campbell, absolutely love him. But if he has a kryptonite, it's his decision making on fourth down and key moments in which he'll gamble it at times where he does not need to gamble it and stuff like that. So I'm going to take the off chance here and say that I too believe that the Rams are going to win this one in a high scoring contest, that both teams score in the 30s, low 30s and stuff like that. But the Rams find a way to win it with a game-winning field goal over Detroit and spoil their opening game and stuff like that. So that's how I see this one playing out. Ode, take it from here.
See, I have almost everything you said. I almost had with you. So I have the Lions winning it because I think Dan is gonna do one of his crazy plays. It could be a 4th and 1. Instead of kicking the field goal, they actually get lucky and they make a touchdown that drive. It could be 4th and goal. Oh, kick the field goal, play for overtime, or play for the tie over this and this. Dan's gonna say no, or maybe go for a 2-pointer. One of
Yep.
his crazy plays is gonna work, and then he's gonna come out, and the Lions fans are gonna come out. See, Dan ain't crazy. Y'all talking smack about Dan. Dan this, Dan that. He did it. And then when the playoff comes and he does it, he's gonna lose. But this time, it's gonna work for him. I got the Lions winning, maybe by a last second field goal, or maybe a 2-pointer or a touchdown, because Dan goes for it. When everybody knows he shouldn't, he's gonna, and it's gonna work out for him.
We know. We know. Let's see what the chat says here. Essence says it's going to be a tough game, tough atmosphere, just like a playoff game. That's right. Get your popcorn ready. And SM says Dan Campbell has those plays ready for sure. Yeah, Dan Campbell's the guy that you end up matching with online on Madden, and then you realize this guy's going to go for it just about every fourth down and stuff like that. But I do love it, though. It brings another element there, and that's something you got to prepare for. Will it be a fake punt? Because he's shown the willingness to do a fake punt from his own, territory. But sometimes, high risk, high reward. Sometimes it doesn't work out. And so it just comes down. I think a coach like Sean McVay, he's going to be expecting something like that. So I think he'll have his guys ready, but it's going to mean a lot of entertainment. So us as fans definitely get to enjoy a really good, potentially another playoff. I think later in the year, this could be a potential playoff matchup and stuff like that, despite the fact that obviously this is week one, but looking further down the road. Let's see. RC says JB, no Jacksonville. Trevor Lawrence tolerated. LOL. You
We
meant
already
JB,
talked
no
about that
Jackson.
mid quarterback.
He's getting paid though, and so I'll say that. That's the best I can say. He's getting paid. Absolutely. All right. So, you get to go first on this one for a little Monday night game here.
49. I went back and forth with this because that's the 49ers defense. Jets defense, I think they'll even them out. It all depends on the offense. All around, I think the Jets have a better offense, better quarterback, better O line. The Jets' problem is injury. They got a lot of old guys and what if at the main thing. Aaron Rodgers, how he's gonna look coming back. How's Tyron Smith gonna play? Is he gonna play more than 5, 6 games? Is Mike Williams gonna be able to play 5 or 6 games without getting hurt next? I think the 49ers win this. I think Aaron Rodgers will ball out. I think it will come down to Purdy or whoever has the ball last. I think the 49ers will have the ball last, and I think Purdy and C Mac will bring it home. So I got the
Okay.
49ers winning this game, but it's going to be a close game because a lot of defense and a lot of mean defense going to go happen in this game.
Okay. Okay. Love it. Love it. My take on the Jets and the 49ers, I think that the headline after the game is going to read Rodgers is washed. I think that's what the headline is going to be after the game. And I'm going to tell you why. I remember a couple seasons ago, opening night, and this was, closer to prime Rodgers and stuff like that. Opening game, went out there the first week. I think they were playing. Who were they playing? Was it the Saints, maybe, or something like that? It was a team that they played that embarrassed them opening night so badly that people thought that Rodgers was done, and he was out there like, we got to relax and stuff like that, blah blah blah. Except there's not going to be any chill. This is New York. There's not going to be any chill and stuff like that. Their savior's about to go out there and get sacrificed against a team that has sacrificed him when he was at his best many times over and over and over again. And so I just feel like, despite the fact that I've noted the Jets are, like talent wise, they have a lot of talent. I just feel like going down to San Francisco and this type of atmosphere right now, and we haven't seen a lot of Aaron Rodgers and stuff like that. When was the last time we saw him throw for 300 yards and stuff like that? I mean, you mentioned the Jets, they always have injury concerns. Brees Hall can go down at any minute. Mike Williams, he can go down at any minute and stuff like that. And so once they start putting their hands on Rodgers and stuff like that, it's going to be a wrap and stuff like that. So I think that San Francisco is going to end up winning this game, and it's going to be at least by 2 touchdowns, at least by 2 touchdowns. And I think it's going to have a lot of people thinking, man, is this the team that we thought the Jets were going to be? Like, they're going to turn on the Jets very fast after this game. Now it's going to be an overreaction, but I do feel like San Francisco is going to make a statement on this opening game against the Jets and show us that, okay, the Jets are not going to be the top team in the AFC East. They may not even be the second best team. At least that's what's going to be the narrative early on. Obviously, it's just one game. So that's what I think. But I think it's going to be a statement game by the San Francisco 49ers, assuming they still have, Brandon Ayuk there with the 49ers there, because they're going to need to still have him at receiver. But let's see what the chat thinks here. Lewis says San Francisco Super Bowl bound. SM says San Francisco has Aaron Rodgers' number. And SM says defensive battle. Okay, defensive battle. There you go. All right. So yeah, JB better go ahead and press San Francisco here. So that is all of our picks that we made there. I'm a little surprised that this year we only got like one Monday night game. I thought that usually at the beginning of the season we get multiple Monday night football games, but just one
Yeah,
this
I
year.
thought they were going to have one at 8 and then one like at 4.
Yeah. So times are changing. And let's see how many points total will the score be for the Jets versus 49ers. 33. I'm gonna say I'll say more like maybe 34, something like that.
I got 45.
Be a little bit lower scoring game. So, all right, but that is your boy JB's picks there, and obviously, old man, made his picks as well. And I should share the link so that way anybody who wants to make their picks this year and compete with us, you know, will have that ability to do just that. All right, let's see. How can I share my group? JB Nation. All right. So JB is going to go ahead and post this. So anybody that wants to join, feel free to. All right, so yeah, I dropped the link there, and I'll go ahead and type out. Let me go ahead and put the password and stuff. So anybody who wants to join with us will have that ability. So give JB 1 second to put that up. Meanwhile, if you want to start talking about, obviously, any of the upcoming college football season as we'll get ready to transition over to college football and stuff like that. But if there's anything that you want to discuss there related to college football and stuff like that, feel free to do that. Or either, if you see a comment that you want to address, feel free to do that as I take time to set this up.
Right now, I think it's make or break it year for Ryan Day with the Buckeyes. I think if he doesn't bring home a championship, I can see Kelly taking over next year. I think this is the way Kelly gets back in. He takes the offense, he uses Jenkins, and he runs the ball a lot. They they get as far as the offense can carry them, and like Ryan Day does all the time, he soaks. And then right when he soaks, I think Kelly gets the call up, and he be the head coach. I don't know if that's the right idea to go with Kelly, but Day needs to go. He, for some reason, when we need him to get it done, or we need a coach to have some brass balls and say, "Hey, this is how it's gonna go. We're doing this. We're doing this." He doesn't live up to it. He needs to go.
Yep. All
And
right.
I don't know if we're doing um by the spread or not. Are we picking with the spread or no? Versus the spread?
No, we're not picking against the spread, just the total points.
Uh
All right. So I will go ahead and put this up there. So yeah, so anybody who wants to participate, obviously now's a good time, but you do have some time before the start of the actual regular season. But I went ahead and put the group name and the password to join because it is a private league there. So feel free to join if you would like to when it comes to the ESPN Pick'ems. And so for college football, and again, I will try to get through it a little bit quicker here, but we'll
yeah,
start
some
with looking over the AP Top 25. Yeah, go ahead, Ode.
about to say college I don't really know a lot about, but I know some teams.
Oh yeah, we'll just go through
So
the top 25 and their last year record, and then we'll take a look quickly at some of their like teams that have more returning players and stuff like that. And obviously, there's only a limitation to what JB knows as well and stuff like that. But
yeah.
you know, we'll do our best with that, and then we'll do our early picks and stuff like that. And so, but yeah, Lewis wants to go against the spread.
That's why I
Lewis,
had who wants to go.
yeah, I was typing, so I didn't get to see that. But now we're just doing total points here, Lewis. We know that you would dominate against the spread there.
Oh,
Yeah, JP would be at a
if
disadvantage.
we doing against the spread, I'm copying Lewis every week.
Exactly. I'm like, Lewis, you go first here. And it's like, okay, like, all right,
You
all
tell
right,
me
all
what
right.
you pick it for.
All right. So looking at the AP Top 25 here, and which was released, obviously earlier in the month. So starting with Georgia at number one. I mean, I feel like University of Georgia, they have their starting quarterback coming back again, Carson Beck. They've got a loaded talent. We know that. And what separates them from the rest of the league, it starts with the play of the O line. As well as the guys they have on the D line as well. It starts with the lineman. That's really the biggest difference when you think of a team like UGA. So for them last year, they did lose one game and stuff like that. They went 13-1, but when they played against Florida State, who at that time was undefeated, and Florida State felt like they should have had a chance at the champion at the college football playoffs back then, but it just happened to work out that going undefeated for them. It wasn't enough. You lost your starting quarterback, but we'll get to that later. But for Georgia, they have the talent for sure, but the SEC is not going to be a cakewalk. It never is a cakewalk and stuff that you add Texas, you add a Oklahoma and that SEC now. And so things are going to change now. You're going to have more of those games against Alabama, not just only conference championship and stuff like that. So now you really got to go out there and there's some differences here. But on paper, I mean, how do you feel about UGA being number one? And how do you guys in the chat feel about UGA being number one? Are they the best team coming into the season just on paper so far?
I don't
Braden
have
says he's
Georgia
high.
as I don't have Georgia as the best team around. I have them maybe right behind Ohio State. People could call me a homer, but if you look at what they did and who they brought, people don't understand. Ole Miss offense was mainly Jenkins. He is going to be the key to the Buckeyes. You know how Chip Kelly is. He loves to give it to the running back, pass screens, all this stuff to the running back he likes to do. Then you look at the receivers. Ohio State got three receivers that can go all top at least in the draft. If they go in the draft, they all going to go at least in the 3 rounds. Maybe two of them can get in the top 60. Georgia, they do have the quarterback. They do have a mean defense, but I have them second behind the Buckeyes.
Okay. Well, I will say I feel like UGA at the top. I've got no issue with that. I agree with UGA being number one. They've got obviously a lot of returning pieces there, and I felt like last year, throughout most of last year, I thought that they were a lock to get into that college football playoffs, but they slipped up towards the end there against Alabama and stuff like that. So I do feel like UGA is definitely coming into the season. I've got no problem with it. You mentioned Ohio State, in which they're number two, so we can jump to Ohio State there. The difference for me is I feel like I need to see how our quarterback, and Will Howard is going to look for us. If now Will can take that next step and all like that, because he's the X factor. And yes, I know as a runner he can do great, but as a thrower, can he consistently feed all the guys that we need at a higher level than what we have for Kyle McCoy? Because it has to be higher and stuff like that if we're going to be able to beat a team like Oregon, who's third, or even Michigan again and stuff like that. We're going to need him to step up. And I do feel like if we matched up against UGA, on paper, we're probably like, especially if we're talking outside the SEC and stuff like that, the best, matchup for him. We showed that the last time that we actually played them and stuff like that. But it's going to come down to Will Howard. I need to see him. And you mentioned Ryan Day. Coaching matters and stuff like that. In the biggest of moments, somehow when we need him the most, as you mentioned, he, historically has shown he does not show up. And for that reason, also, I'm okay with, UGA starting off number one. I feel like at this point, we need to go out there and we need to just show it. So we need to, it's good for the Buckeyes that we don't have that number one bias because it has not helped us in the past. So hopefully this helps motivate them to go out there and realize, hey, we need to show up because you can't be on cruise control this year. We did get some great additions though, and Judkins is going to be great. Him, Travion Henderson. I need them to stay healthy. I need them to stay healthy this year because Travion Henderson last year getting hurt, that was terrible. And when he did come back, it was, a little later in the year. But if those two can be that 1-2 punch, that'd be great. That'd be great. So give them time and they could reach number one, but I'm okay with UGA being number one to start. Let's see. Braden says, if he's better than McCord, you guys will be a way better offense. And so I agree. I agree. And so Kenneth says, hey, Mr. JB, how are you doing tonight? I am great. I am great. And you say you're doing good tonight, and you went to a high school football game. That's right. It is that high school football game time of the year and stuff like that. And so that's great to hear. Great to hear. Absolutely. So next, we're going to talk about Oregon, old man. And for Oregon, sure, losing Bo Nix, that was big right there. But when you got that transfer that came over from Oklahoma there at quarterback and stuff like that, I mean, we're talking potentially, I think, the Heisman Trophy favorite and stuff like that, because in that offense, you're going to have a chance to go out there and really shine and stuff like that. So, Oregon at number three. Chat, how do you guys feel about that? Let me and Ode know, how do you guys feel about Oregon at number three? And Ode, if you have something you want to add about the Oregon Ducks and your thoughts on them being number three to enter the season.
I like that. Like we said, the transfer. I think like he could be QB1, maybe QB2 in college. He's very smart. He got the arm talent, and like you said, or in that offense, depending on if those wide receivers can get open and catch, because they did lose one of their best receivers in the draft. He went with
Yep.
Bo Nick. That's gonna hurt him. But if the other receivers can step up, I like Oregon. There, I think they're perfect for him. I would have him over Michigan because Michigan lost a lot. Like the head coach, quarterback, wide receiver. So I have Oregon as number three on my list.
Okay. Okay. And I will say that, last year, statistically speaking, he threw for Dylan Gabriel threw for over 3,600 yards last year. He had 30 passing touchdowns to 6 interceptions. And you look at the year before that, still over 3,000 yards passing, 25 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. What does that tell me? You know what you're getting. You're getting a guy that's going to come in there, most likely in that system, he's probably going to have at least about 33 passing touchdowns, maybe even more, because in the SEC, he's got to use legs, arms, all that stuff. So or maybe something similar because the SEC does have a lot more good defenses there, but it'll be somewhere in that range. Maybe the turnovers could be a little bit higher, but even so, 31 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, perhaps, and then you look at what he also adds to the ground game as well. Rushing rise, we know that he can get out there and move. So when you think about all of that, for Oregon, he's going to have that offense looking just as good, if not even better, and so than what they were last year. And so defensively on that side of the ball, can they do better? Because like what it came down to last year against Washington, in which Washington's not going to be the same and stuff like that. And so, yeah, I don't think they're in the top 25. So I'll talk about them now. Washington was certainly not going to be the same. They were my team for the team that's going to have the biggest drop from last year and stuff like that, losing everything. But last year, like Washington beat them 2 times and had to get to the college football playoffs and stuff like that, ultimately to lose to the championship game. But to say this and to say that, if Oregon's defense was better and stuff like that, it would have been enough to help them. So just how good would that defense be and stuff like that? But I have high expectations for Oregon. Obviously, I feel like they will be a college football playoff team, as do I feel the same about Ohio State. And it all goes down to how many teams do we think from the Big Ten is going to actually make it to the college football playoffs and stuff like that. If you guys want to let me know that in the chat as well. But Braden says he's got Oregon and Ohio State in the Big Ten championship game, and good that they deserve it. And so, okay, okay. All right, so next we'll talk about Texas. And so I'll start this one off old, and I'll transition to you for the University of Texas.
Well, I got one
So
question for you if you don't
yeah,
mind. How would you compare Dylan to an NFL QB? For me, when I watch him play, he gives me a little bit of Russell Wilson type, but then on some of the plays or some games, he gives me a Drew Brees. So I get like a mixer of Wilson and Drew Brees.
when I think of Dylan, for me, and those are good comps, good comps. And so I would say, yeah, I would lean closer to the Russell Wilson and stuff like that comparison, because obviously what he can do with his legs and stuff like that. When I say Russell Wilson, we're talking like peak Russell
Prime,
Wilson down there in
college,
Seattle, the one that you when we used to say let Russ cook and stuff. I feel like that word has died. We're like keep him out of the kitchen now, but back then we'd like let Russ cook. That version of Russ, I can certainly see that. So there's a lot of aspects to love about his game and stuff. So I can see that. Yeah, I can honestly see that. But that's a good question. Good question. All right. So number 4, Texas. And again, Texas, they were a team that I thought had tremendous balance when they hit that college football playoffs. I mean, I was on that hype train for them entering into the playoffs. Once I realized Oregon wasn't going to get there and stuff, and obviously knowing that Ohio State wasn't either, I thought Texas was going to be the team that was going to be the last team standing because I felt like of all the teams, they really had that balance. But I will say this, Texas has been bitten with some bad luck already, losing not one, but I feel like 2 running backs they've already lost due to injuries and stuff like that. And that's big because that means that Sam Ewert is going to have to carry the load for this Texas offense. And we're talking about without Xavier Worthy this year and stuff like that, in which he's still going to put up numbers, but it's in the SEC now. So there aren't going to be those games where you can just go out there and play an easier defense and, pad them stats. You have to go out there and really carry this team, especially due to the injuries at running back. It's going to fall more on his shoulders and stuff like that. And so starting off at number 4, that's great. And early on, before the injuries, I was like, hey, they're going to be there in that SEC, championship game. I feel like there's still a path to get there. There's still a path to get there, but I feel like they're going to take at least a bump, maybe 2 along the way. So I can see them, finishing the season with about 2 losses and stuff like that. That's what I think of Texas right now. And again, those injuries that matters. And once you start getting bitten by the injury bug, that's tough. That's tough. So, Ode, anything you want to add?
That's that's the problem with them. Injury bugs, like you said. They're a good team and healthy. When healthy, you can argue they could win any game. Every game they can go in and dominate. But the injuries are catching up to them. And at worst, I think they might lose 3 games. They could possibly lose 4, but I think they'll be fine overall.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, also just combining with the fact that we're talking to SEC, and we know how competitive the SEC is. There are some teams that are middle of the road that, like they will fight you tooth and nail and stuff like that, for a victory. So they got to be ready to fight and bring it each and every week. So that's just how
Oh
tough it
yeah,
is. All right. SM says that the Big Ten is going to have two teams in the college football playoffs. SM, tell us who those two teams are going to be. I want to know who you got for those two teams in the college football playoffs coming from the Big Ten. All right. While SM types that out, next at number 5 is Alabama. And again, they went 12-2 last year, but we know that for Alabama, losing Nick Saban, that's historic. That's historic. You lose a guy like Nick Saban, what does that mean? The biggest difference means the media is going to stop giving you the benefit of the doubt to start the season. For me, I feel like there's that. And then there's also the difference in terms of recruiting. A lot of guys hit the transfer portal. But when they brought in Washington's former coach and stuff like that, he brought in some of his guys as well. So that helped negate the guys that they did end up losing and stuff like that. And you got Jalen Milrow another year, a more, offensive minded type of approach this year. Can that help him elevate? And if Bama wants to see themselves in that college football playoffs, I feel like Jalen has got to have himself a season where he finishes in the top 3 for the college football Heisman voting, because that means that he's out there winning and he's showing what he showed at the end of that Auburn game. He showed it in spurts. Now I'm not gonna lie, the man did get benched early on in the season until Nick Saban realized what was behind him and it's like, you know what, you got to go back in there. But if he can really put it together like I think he will this year and stuff like that, Bama may not be the Bama of old, but Bama's still around. So putting them at number 5 and looking at the teams after them, do I have them above a Ole Miss? Absolutely. Do I have them above a Notre Dame every time? Yes. Above a Penn State? Yes. So putting them at number 5, absolutely. I'm okay with that. Ode, your thoughts?
I have no problem with 5, and I might be the only one. I don't think Nick Saban's gone all the way. I think he's still in the airs, still in that arena, or still in that locker room, still talking. Hey, if I was this, I'd do it. I think he wanted, like Belichick. I think he loved head coaching. He loves the game. I just think he felt like I need to take a step back, clear my head, let me have. And he also, I believe, he had a pick in the next head coach. Like he had some say in who coming in and taking over. So I don't think Nick Saban's gone all the way. I still think he's in there giving his opinion. So I think that's perfect right where they are.
Okay. Well put. Well put. I do feel like he's behind the shadows and stuff, and he will help continue to make sure that, they keep a high level there. So that's a great
He's like
point.
the Wizard of Oz. He's like the guy
The
behind
man
the.
behind the curtain. Yes.
That's right.
Yes. And so Kenneth says, I hope you have a good night, all my friends, and appreciate that. And yeah, I'm going to be streaming the Knowles game. That's going to be tomorrow at noon Eastern time. Tomorrow at noon Eastern time. So yes, and in terms of where do I put Florida State in my college football polls, and so right now they have Florida State at 10 here. So do I agree with that? Higher, lower? I feel like my range for Florida State right now is somewhere between, and looking at the teams behind them, somewhere between 10 and 10 and 14, somewhere between 10 and 14, probably a little bit higher. So, really, between that 10 to 12 spot is where I have Florida State at personally. They did pick up DJU, in the transfer portal. That's big because they was losing their quarterback, so that's big. And we know how important that quarterback is. But DJU comes with limitations. That's why he had to leave Clemson and stuff like that. But he's, have a lot of experience. And I know he's going to protect the ball and stuff like that. So he'll help them in the ACC. Like can is it enough to beat Clemson or not? That's really the coin toss for me. But he'll help them in the ACC. But will he be able to do damage for Florida State in the college football playoffs? Obviously, I got to see if they get a high enough seed and stuff like that. But I don't think that it's going to be enough to where they make it to like the Final Four or anything like that. So I think putting them at 10 or 11 or 12, you can make a case for either. But that's where I honestly have Florida State for this current season and stuff
I
like
have him
that.
at 11.
Got
They,
them at
the,
11.
they have him at 10 on this website, Oh, this
Yeah, they got
worse.
them at 10 here on the AP poll at
Well, I
10.
gotta see who they have at 10. I want to see who they have below them then, because
And
I got
so,
them 11.
all right, let's see it. Oh, that's right. My thing is blocking the thing. So I'll go ahead and move the banner real quick. And so let me know if that helped any. Oh, 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 I'm sorry. I'm showing the wrong tab, guys. All right. All right, so here we go. I was wondering, like, okay, I was sharing the wrong tab. My bad, y'all.
Mm.
All right, so yeah, so right now we talked about Alabama. So at number 6, for Ole Miss at number 6, now you talked about them losing Judkins and stuff like that. That obviously very big right there. But for me, putting them at number 6, I don't think so because I'm not convinced about Ole Miss defense. Ole Miss defense is always keeping them back and stuff like that. Now, Lane Kiffin, will he keep them in the top 10? Are they a top 10 team? Absolutely. But do I have them at number 6? I don't think so. I personally feel like Michigan would be Ole Miss if they played head to head. I feel like Michigan should be higher than Penn State. Michigan should be higher than Notre Dame. Michigan should be higher than Ole Miss. I would put Michigan at number 6 and stuff like that as of right now. And I would drop Ole Miss. I probably would swap Ole Miss and Penn State for now and stuff like that. But I honestly feel like they probably got them a spot or two too high for Ole Miss. Your thought, Ode?
I was gonna say I'm taking Penn State over them, so I
So
would move. I probably would take Penn State 6, and then maybe Michigan 7, and then Ole Miss 10.
okay, absolutely. And
Or
as
you
for
can
Notre Dame,
argue Ole Miss and Michigan for the ninth spot.
yeah, I honestly would probably just swap Michigan and Ole Miss there. But I would keep Ole Miss above Notre Dame, though. I would do that. But Notre Dame and Penn State, I probably would put Penn State above Notre Dame as well. So I
Yeah,
probably would have Notre Dame at that number 9 spot. And so I'll try to speed it up a little bit. I know that we're going a little over in terms of the time there. And what we'll do, Owen, is that next week, because they don't have week 0 as an option for us to do our pick'ems for these games that's coming up tomorrow. So we can wait till, next week, Friday, to make our picks for next. Well, are there some games next week? So on Friday or Thursday? I'll just try to get through this real quick, and then we'll go ahead and jump to the pick'ems and do that one as well.
all
So
right.
we, we talked about all of these. So at 10, Florida State, I could see the case for that. Missouri at 11. They're a team that, keep an eye out for. I know they lost, obviously, their running back there, but I feel like they're still going to be similar to what they were last year. So 11, I'm okay with that. Utah at 12, they lost 5 games last year, but I think they got a good amount of players coming back. But would I put them at 12? Probably not. I probably would put them at 14,
I
but
got
I'm okay
LSU
with
better
12.
than them.
Yeah, you got LSU above them. Same here. I got LSU above them. I even got Clemson above them right now as well. So at 15,
I
Tennessee,
would put LSU higher to me,
how high would you put them?
like 11. If Florida State 10, I would put LSU 11 then.
SM says that Miller Moss is going to win the Heisman this year. And so you heard it here first from SM. And so where do they have SC? Or okay, 23. Okay, okay. All right. And so Tennessee, Oklahoma. Personally, I probably would swap the two. Maybe, well, I don't really know much about who's quarterbacking for Oklahoma, to be honest. So I'd leave it that one alone there. Oklahoma above Oklahoma State. I feel like that's neck and neck, so I'm good with that. Now, once we get to that number 18 spot with Kansas State, things get a little bit interesting. That 18 to 20 spot. So,
I
oh,
got
how do you feel about that spot?
Texas A&M to swap with Miami for sure, in my opinion.
I agree. And both teams, again, last year 7-6, but getting the benefit of the doubt and stuff like that. But yeah, I totally can see them swapping as well. And let's see, Arizona at 21, Kansas at 22. I probably would slide USC to 20, 22, 22, and then maybe 21 at most. So I could possibly slide them up 2 spots, but I can get why they're at 23. So I get it. And then to round it off, North Carolina State at 24 and the Iowa Hawkeyes at 25 because they tremendous defense, but terrible offense.
Oh, that
And so
offense is horrible.
SM says 22 feels about right. And so, okay, absolutely.
Talk about
Absolutely.
defense win games.
I mean, 10-4, but if defense wins games was an actual person, it'd be a Hawkeye. It'd be a
It'd be a
Hawkeye for sure.
Hawkeye.
All right, and so some of the other receiving votes we had Louisville, get some votes there. Virginia Tech, that's going to be an interesting team to keep an eye out for. Virginia Tech, there, Boise State, SMU, in which we'll be streaming SMU tomorrow as well. Iowa State, Liberty. You know that by the time the end of the year, Liberty's going to probably end up around that 16, 15, 14 spot once we get to the end of the season and stuff like that. But they always start them off, outside of there.
They always do that. I have no idea why they keep them off. Just so they can climb back on the list.
Exactly. Well, I'll be paying attention to Wisconsin this year, though. See if Wisconsin ends up being a team that it's kind of like what last year Rutgers were and stuff like that in the Big Ten. See if this will be Wisconsin this year. And then the fact that Colorado got a vote, I'm like, really, guys? Who gave Colorado a vote? That's
It
a whole
must be
segment by
fun to
itself.
them.
Maybe Prime made the vote. Maybe he's got the ability to make the votes. All right, so we'll go to our college pick'ems, and that'll be the last thing that we'll do for tonight. Again, I probably anticipated it wasn't going to be as long, but hey, this is great. This is great. Definitely fun and stuff like
Oh
that. So we'll
yeah.
get to the college pick'ems. So let me make sure I'm
I would be
sharing a
doing it
tab this
anyways.
time. So, all right, and you notice for week 1 they skip week 0 here. So the games that play tomorrow, I guess we'll talk, Florida State, Georgia Tech tomorrow. I got Florida State. Quite frankly, Florida State's just that much better than Georgia Tech, but I'm
Yeah.
hoping that Georgia Tech keeps it competitive. I am rooting Georgia Tech though, but Florida State's just that much better. They will win it with ease. So, all right, so we'll go here. And so, Ode, I'll give you the honor of going with the first one here. Penn State on the road at West Virginia. What are you thinking?
I'm taking Penn State. I think all around they're a better team. Defensively, on the O line, running backs, all around they're a better team. I just think West Virginia's a good team, don't get me wrong. They got some young guys who are hungry, who will fight, but you're going against Penn State. Like, have fun. Have fun. That's all I gotta
Have
do.
fun.
Say, have
Have
fun.
fun.
Try to have fun playing. You're gonna lose.
Exactly. This is where, as a coach, you learn a lot about your team. They say you learn more from losses than W's. How competitive do we get it? Like, do we go out there and execute our game plan the way that we draw it up? We're gonna get to see the bigger man. How do we match up against the bigger man and stuff like that? This will tell me a lot about West Virginia for the rest of their season in terms of what to expect for them. So ultimately, I'm gonna go with Penn State winning this one. Penn State's got a lot of talent and stuff. And James Franklin, he may not do so good against teams that are in the top 10, but outside the top 10, he goes to work on those teams. That's how he got it. That's how he keeps his job and stuff like that. So this is one of those job security type of games. He's going to go out there and make sure them boys are ready and stuff like that for this one. So, yes, I got Penn State. Let's see. Braden says Penn State. SM says he ain't tripping. He says it's still early for him. And so, nice. And so Lewis says Georgia. Not going to wait for us to get there. I'll go first on the next one. The Virginia Tech Hokies and Vanderbilt Commodores. Vanderbilt showed me some positive things last year and stuff like that. They really did. But Virginia Tech, I feel like it's one of those dark horse teams in the ACC. Last year, I saw how Boston College, they looked good last year and stuff like that in the ACC. And I feel like Virginia Tech, they're still the better team than Vanderbilt. So the Hokies are going to go out there and get that W, and they're going to look nice in that W there over Vanderbilt. But Vanderbilt will show a little bit more fight than people anticipate and stuff like that. But it's going to be Virginia Tech with the definite win. Ode,
I'm going with the Hokies. They won me money a couple years ago.
they
I'm going
did.
with them again
They did.
because,
They did.
and I like their quarterback, Dwans. I think he's gonna be a sneaky quarterback people are sleeping on. He's only 21. He's a young buck. Give him time. Let him learn. And I can see him getting drafted in the third round, fourth round if he wants to come out early. He could go second round if he stays a while, but I got the Hokies winning it. They won me money before, they're gonna win me again.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. So you're first on this one. And what a game it is. Clemson versus Georgia. Talk to us.
This one I went back and forth with. Clemson, they always gonna give you a good game. They always gonna fight. Bulldogs like you, but I think how you were talking about the Bulldogs earlier, s- I'm going with them. You swerved me on that when you made me switch teams. I was gonna go Klinsman, but you sold me on the Bulldogs. Bring that quarterback. The teams all they brought a lot of people back, good people in. That defense is always top tier. I'm going the Bulldogs. You made me switch. You sold me, JB. You sold me.
Well, that makes JB happy there. That makes JB happy. Now, first off, I'm going to start with Clemson. All right. So, Dabo Sweeney, he knows what it takes to put together a team that, knows how to compete against those schools, such as, obviously he showed it against the older Bama when Bama was still, at the peak top and stuff like that. And he knows a little something about Kirby Smart and those Georgia Bulldogs. He's going to have his guys ready. Last time these two teams played, it was a defensive fest. But I'm gonna tell you what the difference is. The difference is UGA. I like their quarterback a lot better. Clemson quarterback, to me, he still hasn't reached the hype that has came with his name ever since he's been in college football. Can this year be different? Perhaps, but it won't be against UGA's defense. I know that much and stuff like that. UGA is gonna have the bigger guys. UGA is going to be able to run the ball with the altitude of running backs that they have and stuff. Then they're going to come out the gate fired up. I mean, don't get me wrong. Clemson, they're good and stuff like that. But I remember last year Clemson lost to Duke and stuff like that, early in the season and stuff like that. And this ain't Duke. This ain't Duke here. So Georgia is going to go out there and while I do think that early on it's going to be a defensive contest, in the third quarter, we're going to start to see UGA start to pull away a little bit and stuff like that. They're going to do what the Bulldogs do so well against a team like Clemson. Because let's face it, this ain't the Clemson that, Deshaun Watson and Trevor Lawrence played for. This ain't that same Clemson team and stuff like that. And so they're not going to be able to run the ball against UGA. And so they're going to have to rely on the pass game. And that's not going to be their strength this year, that pass game. So at some point, whether it's through turnovers, whatever it is, UGA will win this game and stuff like that. But the first half should be entertaining. Once we get towards the tail end of the third quarter, it'll start to favor UGA a lot more. So I'll go ahead and put UGA. Let's see what everybody else is saying. Braden says Georgia. SM says UGA. RC says JB. Are you doing all the football games, the worldwide, the whole wide world? And so JB, I mean, I cover different teams and stuff like that. Like that's always what I try to do is cover different teams and stuff like that. And at some point throughout the season, if these double headers turn out to be where we have a good amount of people show up and support your boy, I'll start, occasionally asking for the second game what everybody prefers in terms of which game we actually stream and stuff like that. So we'll get a lot of different ones. But obviously, if it's Ohio State versus Michigan, if it's Ohio State versus Oregon, your boy's got to stream that one and stuff like that. Or maybe I should stop because it hasn't been working lately. Maybe I'm the jinx old. Who knows? But it works everywhere else. So, all right. All right, so it's my turn to go first here. Oklahoma State Cowboys versus the South Dakota Jack Rabbits. I'm sorry, South Dakota State Jack Rabbits. And as much as, I want to root for the underdog and stuff like that, JB's no fool, though. Oklahoma State, they're known for defense there. That's just what they do and stuff. And so, I feel like they've got a good amount of guys coming back. So Oklahoma State, this easy game here. Easy game. Ode?
Man, you gonna make me look like a fool, but I'm going with the Jackrabbit
The
because
Jackrabbits. Okay, so
because of
Ode is
Mark.
putting it out there.
Mark, I'm gonna mess up his name, brother, and I'm so sorry. Mark Gonskowski. That brother can play. I don't care what anybody says. That man can out play. He is gonna take them to the promised land, maybe, but he's gonna win this game for them. He's gonna
Wow.
show them why he is the man, the myth, the legend. Mark it down. They're winning this game. This will be their Super Bowl of the year because
That will
everybody's
be
sleeping on
huge.
them.
And the fact that you selected them, so when it's all said and done, we'll be able to look back. And if you're right, I mean, my goodness, that would be that'd be insane right there. I mean,
Keep
a
sleeping
huge.
on Mark. That's all I'm gonna tell you. Keep sleeping on them.
And so, all right, SM says JB is a man of the people, and so absolutely, absolutely. All right, Ode, your time. Yeah, your turn to go first on this one.
I'm taking the Wildcats on this one
Okay,
because
okay.
I don't. I really don't have faith in the Red Hawks. I used to bet on them, and they used to cost me a lot of money, JB. A lot of money. I can't
That's
do
all
it
you
no
gotta
more.
say.
They used to
That's
be my
all you
team to pick
gotta
on
say.
them, but I gotta go with the Wildcats. That's because it's the thing Red Hawks. They let me down too many times.
I totally you know, as if I needed to be persuaded either way, because I was already gonna go Northwestern here. But yeah, if they're costing you money and stuff like that, yeah, yeah. Big Ben's not coming through that locker room for them anytime soon and stuff like that. I believe yeah, Big Ben went to Miami of Ohio, I believe. So yeah, that's not happening. So Northwestern home game, you know you got to win this because how many games are you going to actually be able to win this year in the Big Ten? They're going to come out and know that this is not a game that they can just squander away. And so yeah, Northwestern gets this W here, and they make the state proud in that victory. All right, JB's turn to go first here. Lewis says Northwestern as well. Okay. All right. Oh man. Hurricanes versus the Gators here. And so I know Mr. JB is a big Hurricane fan. He loves the Hurricanes and stuff like that. They're ranked number 19, but the University of Florida. Everybody knows it's no secret that the University of Florida this year has perhaps the toughest schedule of any team in college football. So, what does that mean? They understand the importance of each and every game. That's been on their mind all off season long. But again, Miami, Mario Cristobal, he's been there a little while now. He's got to go out there and he's got to show something here, so. Oh man, this is going to be one of those close games here that early on, it's going to be close. And it's going to be one of those games where it kind of frustrates you because, like, big on paper, but then you start watching and you see the offense goes out there and they kind of stall, back and forth and stuff like that. But ultimately, when it's all said and done, I'm going to go ahead and say that the Miami Hurricanes get this victory and a close one over the Florida Gators here at home. And all of a sudden, Florida fans, they hit the panic button and all like that because they realize it's going to be a very long season and all like that once Miami goes down there and beats them down there in Gainesville. Oh, take over.
And see, I'm the opposite. I think the Gators know it's gonna be a tough season. They gotta get the dubs when they can, and I think they take this one to start the season off on the right footsteps. Because if they start 0-1, like you said, oh, they don't know what they in for. The
Oh
Gators are
yeah.
overrated. I think the coach is gonna use that. Hey, let's get this first win. Use the win to our advantage. Let's use it. Let's get this dub one at a time. I think they're gonna take it. It's gonna be a close game though, either way. But I
Oh
got the
yeah.
Gators winning.
Oh yeah. Ideally, when we get to that, I would like to stream that one as part of the second header, but I'm thinking that we may still be in the Clemson UGA game at that time, in terms of like future streaming that one. But certainly a good matchup there, especially for the actual week one. But yeah, I could see this one going either way. Either way, it's going to come down to the quarterback play. At the end of the day, whichever quarterback finishes with the higher QBR, I'm gonna say that's gonna be the team that wins and stuff like that. And let's not forget the importance when it comes to recruiting and stuff like that. If you're in Miami and you want to show, hey, the U is for real back this time. Now they said it themselves, the players, like they know every year that they've came in, hyped up, and every year they end up having to apologize for the season that they had. They say this year it's gonna be different, so we're gonna see. We're gonna see. And I tell you what, they go out there and they lose to the Gators and nothing like that. JB will never give them the benefit of the doubt again if they go out there and they lose this one. So they better go out here and show me that Mario Cristobal really has his thumb on this program and that he can, really help them take that next step because it has to come with this game here. This is a big game for them. If they can win this one, that would just hype them up a lot, personally. But let's see. Braden says Miami. SM says the U. Lewis says the Gators. And you say you need the NFL preseason to end. You say you had Miami and Tampa Bay under 35.5. And the final score was actually, oh man, just over at 38. Lewis, you might need to wait to the regular season, my guy. All right. Ode, you're up first with this one.
I think Boston State Broncos are gonna win. They bought in a new QB, and I think I'm gonna get. Did I get kicked? Oh no, I didn't. They bought in a new QB. I think he's gonna be good. He's gonna like.
Oh, looks like we lost old man there for a second. All right, so when O gets back, we'll continue that. But Braden said Boise State. And so, okay, gotta love it. Gotta love it. Lewis says Boise State as well. And so, okay, a lot of love here for Boise State. And so, Georgia Southern, I mean, I won't too much, derail there, but I'll go ahead and talk about mine. And then when O comes, I'll just have mine up there already. So, but yeah, Boise State, I got them winning this one. And so for Boise State, it's just a simple case of I mean, don't get me wrong. I do like, Georgia Southern, but not to the point where I got them over anybody like Boise State. Boise State, they have an argument to be a ranked team. And I think that they will eventually become a ranked team at some point in the season and stuff like that. So for me, Boise State, get off to the right start here. There's a reason why, you play teams like Georgia State to go out there, I'm sorry, Georgia Southern, and get yourself, confidence. Oh man, you want to continue where you left off at?
Oh yeah, both. I was about to say I got the Broncos winning it. The team is all around better, and like I was saying, I like the QB they bought in. He seems like a good kid. Got his head on his shoulder. But the main question I have about him is he gonna be able to live up to the hype and live around knowing, hey, I'm the guy that gotta take this team to the championship. But I don't think the Eagles can touch them. I think I think it's gonna be a cakewalk for the Broncos.
So absolutely. I wonder where they get those 4% votes from there. But anyways, all right. So my turn to go first here. And so North Texas Mean Green versus South Alabama Jaguars. I tell you what, them Jaguars, they're gonna light it up in this one. They're gonna light it up in this one, and there's gonna be some fireworks going off here for South Alabama in this one. So I like them a lot in this one, especially at home too. Oh yeah, give me that. Give me that. Ode.
Do I gotta say anything about this for real?
You
Zag's
know,
about to
if you don't
have
have anything, hey, he's like it's common sense at this point, So
Zags are looking at right now and using what Shaq O'Neal used to say, barbecue chicken.
and so yes, yes, there's nothing mean about this green team. So absolutely. All right, but you get to go first on this one.
I'm taking the Irishman. Give me Notre Dame. I just think they're gonna go back to the way they keep up their old school football. Mean defense and having a good old line. So I got the Fighting Irish team winning against them. I don't
Okay.
really trust Texas A&M like their system yet. I gotta pay more attention to them. I stopped watching them like halfway through the year last year because I got tired of the head coach with his play calling.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And let's see in the chat. Braden says Notre Dame. Lewis says Notre Dame, and your boy JB is gonna go ahead and say you brought up a key point there, Ode. The coaching. And not only that, I cannot trust Texas A&M. Texas A&M to me is on the same tier as what the Miami Hurricanes have done. Although because like both of these two teams, you'll always see they recruit high. Like Texas A&M, they'll get a lot of great recruits to come in. Everybody's saying, "Oh, this is the year where it's going to all come together." Have you seen their recruiting class and stuff like that? And then once they hit the field, next thing I know, they're hitting the showers because they lost and all that. They get upset to a team that was barely ranked or not ranked and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden, everybody's hitting the transfer portal again. Everybody's scrambling. They don't know what to do. They want to throw about 80 million to another coach to come in and destroy the team again. And so I can't trust them. I know they're at home. I can't trust them against a team like Notre Dame because I know that Notre Dame is going to be a team that's going to go in there and they're going to, like the quarterback that they picked up from Duke and stuff like that. He's good. He's good, and they're going to be a disciplined team. They're going to go out there with the fundamentals there, and they're not going to make mistakes. A&M, they're going to make mistakes and stuff like that. Notre Dame is going to go out there and they're going to play hard, textbook type of football. That's their brand, and that's what they're going to do in this one. So Notre Dame will win on the road at Texas A&M because Texas A&M, they're just going to make too many mistakes. Too many mistakes. All right. So it's my turn to go first with this one, and it is the final one on this one. So, all right. So Wyoming versus Arizona State, and so I definitely do trust Arizona State more in this matchup there. I mean, Wyoming is just, I see no reason to believe that Wyoming is going to be any different this year than years past and stuff like that. So, Arizona State, Sun Devils for me, wrap it up, put a bow on it.
I have no faith in the Cowboys. NFL, college, it can be any. It could be an NBA team. Call the Cowboys, and I'm taking the other team when it matters.
Gonna take the other team. All right, so JB's got to do a little math here. I'm gonna say 45 for this one. So just in case they get that extra late touchdown in there. So, all right, that is JB's picks here. And Old Man completed his. And, we'll be able to review those picks after these games actually go through and see how we did. But man, this has been a great stream. I did say I was going to wrap it up right after this one here. But, man, Old Man, what are your thoughts about how today went? And just, if anything's on your mind you want to discuss?
Oh, today was good. Thank you for having me. I'll try to make some of my stuff a little bit better because I know that probably took like 10 minutes, 15 minutes and everything. So I'm sorry about that. But yeah, it was fun. And I'm
No,
glad the
everything was
chat
great.
came. I'm glad the chat came in and talked and asked questions and hit that like button and definitely get into these picks. Let us know. Maybe you guys can be better than me or JB.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, what I'll do is I'll be sure that before we start the season to share the link so that way everybody else can join, our group and be able to, do your weekly picks so we can track and see how everybody done. Whoever has the best, like week each week and stuff like that, we'll go ahead and, highlight who did the best and stuff like that, give them a shout out and stuff like that. But I mean, you guys are the real MVP, from start to finish. You guys kept us, if it wasn't for you guys, believe me, you guys would have got bored of JB just, babbling and stuff like that. But but yes, I appreciate you guys. And obviously this was our first time, doing something like this. We'll continue to, be even better moving forward. But it's been great. It's been real. And so Lewis says this was exciting, got to do it again. And so we'll try to make it a regular Friday type of thing. And if for some reason, like if O can't do it that Friday, I'll at least, try to ensure that he has his picks and stuff like that. Then if he can share his picks somehow with me, I can either talk to his picks and stuff like that and what he picked. Matter of fact, I'd be able to, I guess, look in the group chat, well, in the group thing and be able to see his picks that way.
At,
So,
wo- at worst, I'll make sure I'm in the chat on Fridays. If I can't be on like talking wise, I'll be in the chat for sure.
all right. I appreciate that. Yes, Braden says great stream. Old man and JB see you tomorrow. That's right. Let's not forget JB will be up and live tomorrow at noon Eastern time for our first college football game, Florida State and Georgia Tech. What does Georgia Tech have to show the rest of the world? We're gonna find that out. But your boy gonna go ahead and end the stream here. But again, thanks for coming out. Again, you guys are the real MVP, and we'll be doing this again. All right. Well, take care, everybody, and see you guys next time.